Hello and welcome to episode 419.5 of the DCP plus side quest.
Oh,
DCP,
I see what you did.
DC plus side quest.
DCPP plus side
DCPP.
We'll figure this out. We'll get it.
DCPP.
Sure you
We'll
will.
get it. Watts, I got a question for you. Assuming
Oh boy.
that you just picked your nose in the car and you have no tissues or like any kind of like napkins or anything, where's that booger going?
Flicking it and seeing where it goes.
Flicking it out the window or just flicking
It's
it?
just flicking it. Just flicking it.
it.
Let God
Whoa.
decide.
I like
That's
it.
chaos.
It's pure
Not even-
chaos.
I'm not gonna open the window.
Let flick it. See where it goes.
Leo, my 2.5-year-old son, has started eating his boogers. I don't know where he gets it from. How do they do
who
it?
could ever tell?
I see other kids, but who's the first kid that starts doing it? Yeah,
Who's patient zero?
yeah.
And then he was at grandparents' place last night, and they made a big deal of it, so he thought it was a game. So he was going like as
no.
a joke.
Ugh.
Like this is
gross.
why we are sick all the time.
Absolutely. Fran, are you a wipe it under the seat guy?
No. Yeah, I mean, for starters, yeah, you can't get that on the wheel, which is why you shouldn't be putting your finger up there in the car anyway.
No, I'm just saying, like, I'm not saying you're a nose picker in the car. I'm just saying, like,
mean, you're
if it did
suggesting.
happen.
I don't even have a car right now, but if it did happen, no, that absolutely is a careful surgical operation to get that thing out the window.
Out the
Like,
window.
yeah,
Come on.
Like if it were to happen, and it's not going to, but were
It's
it to happen,
biodegradable.
you're gonna
Bob.
Are you
balance
looking
it,
for some
you know?
oncoming traffic?
Yeah, just keep it loose. You don't want to like even, you know what I mean? You're like balancing because you know if it gets too sticky, it's never. You're gonna try to flick and it's gonna like come back at you. You know what I'm talking about? Not that I've ever done it.
Is this a personal experience, Brian, you'd like to share with the class? Or what's
Yeah, I
going
feel
on?
like Breyer just did this before he like drove home and he's like,
How
wonder what
dare
they
you?
do.
This would be a good opening.
Mylan, you just kind of hang on till you get home and then deal with it when you get home.
like that. Like your radioactive finger. I'll just drive like this.
Yeah. Oh,
Gotta
yeah,
wipe
you
it
go
on
in the
Leo.
front door,
Take
you're like, I
that.
need a tissue. Yeah, just give it to Leo.
Here, a little snack.
Hey, bud, got a present for you.
Oh, you lunch.
Don't say I can never give you anything, kid.
Ew.
Funny, funny, funny.
Watts, I've been playing more first Berserker Khazan. I just tonight got to, is her name Troka?
Yes.
She's a witch, and she flies around the arena, and I can't catch up to her because I've got a great sword.
I was also a great sword player. Apparently, according to a graph that was posted today by the developers, the least amount of people are using greatsword. So
That's weird
shout out
because
to
it's
us.
so fun.
But it's the hardest, Briar.
Is it?
It's the hardest weapon. Yeah, for sure.
Maybe I should
That
switch.
I played it this week.
I've
Did
been
you?
playing.
Loved it. Absolutely loved it. And
What weapon?
spear.
Hmm.
Yep.
56% of the player base.
Spear felt very strong. I was hesitant to move off the starter weapon just because you already start putting stats in it. And then, yeah, the first demo boss, I changed to spear and got him pretty quick. I was like, okay, I guess I'm a spear maid now. And yeah, it slams their stamina really quick, the spear. I don't know if it's the same as the other weapons, but it feels very strong. And I got up to, I guess, the first main boss tutorial post demo. And
Viper. Did you beat the Viper?
No, I did not.
Okay.
That motherfucker.
I think Viper is actually pretty difficult because you haven't really learned the game yet, but he kind of forces you like to learn like, okay, I've definitely got to like parry these things. I've got to learn how to avoid his grab. I've got to use his what's his like brutal attack where you got to like hit like block and square.
Circle, yeah.
And like you got to learn the timing on that. So it's a lot to learn on the first real boss of the game. So
yeah, I was definitely
his moves come out fast and like jabby.
Yeah.
He doesn't have like big sweepers that are
He's
easy
tricky.
to.
I'll tell you what surprised me about the game that I didn't expect, even though we had spoken about it, was it was a bit like Sekiro in regards to timing and parrying. And it took me a while to like, every time I parried, I expected them to be stunned and to like do a
Right.
rebuttal, but they kind of like have to finish their move set, which is kind of cool because then it ends up being like, you know, a rhythm game almost to like break their posture to get in some big damage and that kind of stuff. I wasn't really expecting that, and I like it a lot. And I also think it feels very much like a Sekiro cross Devil May Cry. Like it feels like a beat 'em up, slash 'em up, hack and slash with Soulsy Sekiro elements sprinkled through it. Which is I think why the combat feels really good. UI is incredibly clean. I like the UI a lot, especially when you get to like from soft games. The UI can be a bit overwhelming, like extra information that you may or may not need. I think the UI is actually really clean, and even like the gear sets and very clearly obvious, like what's a boost, what's not a boost, what scales with what stat, how you can
I like
check,
how you can hit the middle button and it gives you like a dictionary of all like your gear's attributes. So like if you don't know what like enraged is, it'll like say here's what enraged means, you know.
Oh, that's sweet.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's nice. That's really nice.
Yeah,
It's a
like
very
I
nice
think
game.
I was just gonna say I love that these games are being a bit more friendly like that now. There's still plenty to like figure out and learn, but like Elden Ring, I think was one of the first Souls from FromSoft that added. You know, you could hover over and like it will explain what each stat is, which is super helpful. Same thing. I think you hit the middle button there, or maybe it's the left touch button there, but.
What I am getting a little
like,
bit bored with like the levels. Like I was just saying I got to Troka, who is in I think it's like the Sunken City, maybe it's called.
Yeah, something like that.
It's about halfway through the game according to PlayStation, when they like kind of show you like you finished half of this game, 50%. So according to PlayStation, but it's the first level I've been like, oh yeah, this is a cool level. There's like different paths to explore. Like it feels like a more exploratory level than most of the stuff where it's been like straight through, couple of side paths, but usually it's just like go around a corner, there's like a chest there, then come back. You know, this one, I liked this level. It was the first level I really liked. It's still a little bland looking though. It's like kind of washed out and.
See, I don't mind the washout because I've obviously it's pretty intentional with like how much blood it is. Because I was like, I was keeping that in my head when you guys were talking about it. I was like, I can appreciate the artistic direction for this. Like, I feel like that was part of making that gore and blood really stand out when you got the white snow and the washout background. But I can also see that like a lot of Souls games is those like browns and grays and but they can still look really good too. But
this takes it to another level though, because it's like the whole level is like one thematic color. Like for instance, later on in the game, you got to start finding these jarlings, and it's like they're these little tiny jars, and they're whatever color the level is. So it's like if you're in a brown level, everything is brown, including these jars that you're looking for. So it's just like
I didn't know that. I just listened for them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they make a very, very loud, unique sound. So I was like, "Oh, this is there."
Yeah. So I've never heard one. That's
still better than
they made a sound.
Still better than Wukong exploration in that sense. So.
Yeah.
Oh, exploration is like I keep saying with this game is that there's I don't get upset or frustrated or annoyed exploring and finding all of the things and all of the chests and all of the collectibles. It feels very natural.
Yeah. I mean, it's not as deep, but it also doesn't feel tedious either. So it's just kind of like, I think it's for me, for someone who doesn't like do a lot of like open world exploration games, like I think it's kind of like where I would want to be at with these kind of games as well. Like I definitely do get frustrated sometimes when I'm backtracking heaps, like, God damn it, I've missed like a path somewhere that I can't find or I don't know where to go. So like maybe if you're on that side of the coin, but if you really like exploration and environmental, parts of the game, then maybe this is not going to have that depth to it yet.
Some of my favorite games, it's that feeling when you walk around a corner and you're like confronted with this grand vista or this beautiful scene. Like that's what's missing from this. I think it's like what's around the corner is what you just looked at, brown or gray or green or blue.
You know, my only criticism, and this is gonna sound so picky and pitiful, no, is I don't like the main character's face. He's like this berserker. He's like this berserker with a demon inside him. The voice actor's who? Ben
Starr.
Yeah, who's from Warframe, by the way. He was in 1999 update. And then he's just got like Genshin Impact. I'm like, what's going on here?
That's the way he's looked for many, many years. Okay.
Is it? Oh, okay.
Got ageless beauty, Mylan.
He's a character.
I was just give me some beard stubble. The
so.
dude's beheading demons.
My wife walked in today and she was laughing because I've got him dressed up right now in this outfit where he's got like this, I would call it a ruffle around his neck, but it's like super goth with like spikes and it's red and black.
Right.
And then his shoulder pads have candles. And he's like, he better cut his hair or he's gonna get his he's gonna light his head on fire.
That armor set, I wanted to use it so bad throughout the entire game because it looks so cool.
How come you didn't use it?
It's just charging attacks. And I know I'm using Greatsword and that's what Greatsword is good at, but I don't want to just do charging.
What
armor
set did you use?
I farmed Malika's armor set for a while, which gives you like health regen every time you brink guard and gives you Phantom Judgment, I think is the name of the skill.
The other
one that
where
I
he does
used...
like the big slashes and then comes down. Like it gives you.
I think so.
Like
yeah.
That armor gives you that skill, right?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I was using that for a while too.
And then I did farm the spider for a while because that had a
poison.
It had poison. It also had like an extra thing with Ghost Hand, which was cool. So I was trying that out. And then the one that I used for just like the rest of time was where did it come from? Oh, it comes from the boss you're about to fight after this one, I think.
Oh, okay.
But that one is like all parrying based. It's brink guarding and parrying and doing your heart piercer after a brink guard.
Okay.
Based on that. That one
I do a lot of brink guarding.
Yeah, it's really good. There's a follow-up because you guard perfect guard and then you press a button and then you press another button after that and it enhances all of that.
Okay. All right, I'll look forward to it.
Really nice.
If I ever beat this lady who's running me ragged around this arena. Like
yeah,
by the time I get to her, by the time I get to her, I'm out of stamina, so I can't hit her. I might have to put some more points into stamina just to get through this.
This is one of those games I actually found like stamina is so important, probably more important than other ones.
They were very like, we are balancing this game around you managing your stamina.
Yeah. Yep. And like whenever you get like a really good combo in, I'm usually limited by stamina before the boss starts attacking again. I'm like, God damn it, we're just looking at each other. I'm out of stamina.
In a lot of these types of games, though, then that leads people to just like force feed themselves stamina, and like that's the best way to do it. Does it end up feeling that way that you have to take stamina improvements?
Yeah,
I just
early
think
overpowered,
on,
so to speak. Like, is it
early
overpowered?
on, I went with stamina, but then I didn't upgrade it like a ton. I think you also just get used to managing your stamina. Then also you get more abilities. And at least with Greatsword, you can use abilities where you kind of have no stamina. So if you're hitting them and they're about to get their stamina broken, their stance broke, their whatever you want to call it, you can just like press a bunch of your abilities. Then it will break.
This is the first like real problem I've had with stamina, just because this lady is flying around the arena like crazy, and like I'm kind of slow. I got a big fucking 100-pound sword that I'm dragging around this place.
Now those ones, I'm like, I have to use that Greatsword dodge ability where you like close the distance and spin, hit them on the backside of it. I'm like, that one, I just got to use that the whole time. That's what I need to close the distance.
Yeah. I don't know. The game is fun though. The combat is really fun. It's really rewarding. The story like doesn't really isn't doing much for me, but the combat just is keeping me coming for more. Like getting to the next boss is really where it's at. And then learning a boss and killing that boss is super satisfying in a way that these kind of games are.
Yeah, it's great.
It's great. And just play the demo for free if you want to try it out on Steam.
Yeah.
Yep, and it's still there.
It's like
demo's still there.
Yep.
Yeah, I think you
did
get
that
like
first.
OP weapons too, right? If you beat
You
the
do.
demo.
Yeah, they changed like the scaling or something post demo. You came into contact with this, Mylan, I think, because you're like, why is my spear so OP? Your spear
really?
from the demo has better scaling than the weapons in the actual game.
all right.
Because like every spear in the actual game, it scales the same. But in the demo, there was higher scaling.
Ooh.
Watts,
I'm
did you play
cheeky.
through the whole game with Greatsword, or did you ever switch it up?
I tried dual wielding a little bit, not for a super long time, but I got an armor set where I was like, that sounds really interesting, and I want to try that out. I did try a lot of stuff in the closed demo. Closed demo had you fight up until defeating Viper. So I tried all the weapons during then, and I was like, listen, I don't think any weapon is easy because I don't think this game is easy. But I was like, spear feels a little easy. I don't know what other word to
You
use.
say it to my face once.
Because I'm like, I don't know how to describe it because I'm like, I don't think any weapon makes the game easy because I think the game is really hard, but I think spear is on
But
the
if you use
easier
spear, you're
side.
a little baby and deserve to be ridiculed.
Little baby bitch. You know what's weird? I'm normally the one that picks the most stupidest, hardest, hammer, greatsword, difficult parry windows, hard timing. I thought, you know what? I'm going to go easy on myself and pick a spear this time. I'm going to pick the ranged.
It's good that you did. Game's hard.
And then you guys picked the longsword this time.
It just feels so
Well,
good.
so I
Big
normally
smashy.
don't. I normally
You don't normally
like
do that once. I
greatswords.
thought you would do
I
the
don't.
dual blades.
I don't normally like great swords, and it's not normally my thing. But and that's actually why I stuck with great sword, because I was like, this is actually a great sword, a big weapon in a game that I really, really like. I was like, I'm gonna stick with this because I don't know if there's gonna be another game where I really like it.
Okay.
I don't know. I
I'm a
worked
little
on this
bitch.
boss for about half an hour before the podcast started. Before we had to come up, I had to come to the office. If tomorrow morning I spend all morning working on this boss, I might switch to a little easier weapon.
Little bitch to me.
Just chasing this girl around, man. Oh my god.
You just
wearing
gotta
me
lock
out.
her down. With all mages,
reach.
they all try and run away, and you
Is
just
that-
gotta lock them down.
This is gonna keep happening. Maybe I just gotta get
Might be
good.
another one. Yeah. Might be another one.
What do you think about, so like you can respec all your skills easily, right?
Yeah.
Oh, but do you get an item to respec your character
Yes.
points or no?
Yeah.
You can. Okay. Because I'll say it's quite easy to switch to try different weapons and skills, but you're still kind of scaled into a certain stat for whatever you're using. So
Yeah, you get items.
You're
I
gonna
think
lose
they're,
some damage.
They're a world drop, and I think you could buy them from vendors too.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, and I think eventually
can
you can
you-
craft them
The
too.
little
Oh, right.
like medallions you use to get an NPC, can you buy them?
To get an NPC.
Medallion.
No, you have to
Oh.
kill those red things. You have to like activate those red
Right.
things.
So you're limited to how many you can get of them.
No, you can
Well,
farm those.
You can farm them, yeah.
And actually,
so I can go back and get more.
today I noticed that there's less of those around. Like they were everywhere. They were like littering the levels. And I
I wonder if
noticed
it's
that.
because it's players. What if
What do
that's
you mean
why?
it's players?
Like though it's like Neo, where those remnants are players. So if there's less players playing, maybe there's less of them around.
Oh, I don't know.
Mhm.
But what I also noticed that is when I killed one, I got like 6 of those tokens instead of like 1 or 2. So I'm wondering, they patched the game today or yesterday. And I wonder if they just like reduced how many of those are in the game, but they're
wonder.
more rewarding. So you don't have, because I found like, man, these things are kind of everywhere. And like when you're looking for soul stones, it's a little bit distracting. And like, I don't know, it's like almost like litter. Because most of the time I don't interact with them. I just run past them constantly.
I fought all the greatsword ones. Seeing if they'll drop a new greatsword for me.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Well,
you
I've
just
only
fight
done it
those.
once, so-
But now,
but
see,
you
now
can't-
that's
can you-
being the big baby bitch, Mylon.
I don't know. The thing is not super useful. Like,
And
I've tried that spirit thing on a couple of bosses, and I haven't found it useful at all.
Well, I think Mylon, correct me if I'm wrong, didn't you equip the phantom that buffs the spirits? Spirit of advocacy?
I don't know. I got the lady phantom.
Yeah,
Mm.
that buffs the spirit of advocacy.
What does that do?
It buffs your summon.
Buffs her.
Yeah.
She buffs herself.
No, so when you're about to go into a boss fight and you summon,
Yes.
yeah, that's called the spirit of advocacy. You have
Okay.
a phantom that you have
Okay.
accompanying you that buffs the spirit of advocacy.
I haven't seen a phantom yet. I picked one, but where the hell is she?
I told you she's in you.
She's in me.
Yeah, you know how the Blade Phantom and he's like, you meet the Blade Phantom and it's like 17 people and he's like, there's all the Blade Phantom in you. She's in you.
She's in me.
Bet you didn't expect that.
That sounds like a good Friday night.
Did
They're
we
all
talk
hot, dude.
last week about the Switch pre-order delay? Had that happened yet?
No, I don't think
No,
so.
I don't think so. I mean, it was
don't
all
think so.
unfolding, so I don't
We
know
are
if Nintendo had
banned from
commented.
having Switches in America. It's true.
Yes.
So you guys
Yeah.
can't pre-order? Is that the story? Because I don't know what
Yes.
the price is
Trump
going to be.
hates
They haven't
Yeah.
announced
Nintendo,
when yet.
apparently.
Trump hates Nintendo. Yeah, they're
Yes.
currently battling to the death in the court of law. It's Nintendo lawyers versus Trump. I mean, this could be the one that truly ends it all.
Yeah. Short story is that Nintendo moved a bunch of their product to Vietnam, apparently,
Yeah,
thinking
Vietnam.
that would be a way to kind of get around tariffs. But then Trump came out and said 46% tariff on anything from Vietnam. And Nintendo said, we're pausing pre-orders in America and Canada too, because we don't know how much this thing's going to cost if we have to pay 46% extra to
Yeah.
get it into the United States. But today I believe that the tariff went down to 10%. So
Yeah.
I think I saw like an analyst was saying that probably that means they're going to be okay to put it in at the original price. I don't know.
Yeah, but what it's really about is when can we pre-order, right?
When can we pre-order?
And the situation we
When?
ran into was we already knew this was coming. Probably there's been some speculation, even like maybe that's why they didn't include it in the video, right? Presentation, and then you have a situation where, sure enough, they hit, and then they're like, you know what? We're not even going to pre-order this at that price. And now I think my speculation was I think they put a 30-day pause on it. Maybe looked like May 7th. I'm just making that date up. But I think that's reasonable, right? With what's going on, you're like, every day is different. We're only, a little over a week into this, and you see how much has changed. So how can you, smack a sticker on it? Plus, China is still under super heavy tariffs. So even though, Vietnam is one portion of it, but it's not everything. You've got a situation where you've probably got Japan, Taiwan, China, and Vietnam all involved in this situation, in addition to everything in between. There was a story, not about Nintendo, but Apple flying iPhones from India in 3, giant aircrafts, like just trying to get them in before like tariffs. So you just have look at what's happening. So yeah, I just wouldn't expect to be able to pre-order it soon. Is all I'm saying.
Well, you guys can watch me play. I pre-ordered mine last week.
So
I think it's still going to come out at that date, but.
Yeah, they haven't
want me to get
adjusted
you
the
one? I'll
release
send it to
date,
you?
just the pre-order, because I think they're a little
Yeah.
tentative on maybe our pricing needs to change, and we don't want to take anybody's money and then need to take more money later or something like that.
Yeah, I think that's why they're delaying it, because if they say it's going to be $500 and you pre-order for $500 and then a tariff goes in and now it's $550 or $600 or whatever, then they're like, well, you've already had an agreement on the pre-order price, so they just need to be sure that what they're saying on the website and what you're pre-ordering for is what they're going to charge you for.
Yeah, I think it's kind of an unfortunate situation for Nintendo too, because I think there's just maybe it's just the websites I've been going to, but there seems to be an overwhelming kind of you're kind of fucking this up, Nintendo feeling. Have you guys been seeing that or feeling that at all?
No, I don't
With
know.
the
How
$80
Nintendo's site?
Increased game price.
The increased game price, that like demo game being a cost, like having the updates for older games cost money. They repeated the Don Matrick line of, well, if you can't afford this, you can always play your Switch One, which was like, that should be in like CEO training. Like, you never say that. It's like one of the banned sentences, you know?
I mean, it definitely doesn't help with all that stuff, and then all the tariff stuff happening at the same time. Like, it's you getting hit twice.
I think they're so confident ultimately that I would agree. The messaging is totally.
Are they like Sony before the PlayStation 3 confident, or are they like Microsoft before the Xbox One confident?
No, they're like
Super
Nintendo, like
Nintendo
before the Wii U
confident.
No, they're like Super NES after the NES confident. I think it's mostly that, and they've sort of just reverted to like, look, we're not even gonna be able to keep this in stock. I don't think they were that worried, because when I went to the site, and I still do after, like, I mean, they didn't even have filters for Nintendo Switch for days after, maybe even just recently they popped up, but it was very hard to find anything from like which games are coming out. Yeah, the price of upgrades and that what I'm getting at, it was somewhat intentional in that they had the Treehouse coming, and then they had the hands-on for a lot of critics in the US and in New York, right? They held an event with FaceTime, talking to people. So I think it was all part of the strategy of rolling out in their mind. And again, they were so confident. They're like, we'll tell you about that later. Like, you wanted to know about the Switch. We told you. I think that's how they viewed it. But now some of that backlash is coming. And then they're seeing that. You're right. It's confusing. And then Welcome Tour, doesn't add to that. A $10 demo game, that they still have yet to show people, like, wait, how much is in this? Why is it worth $10? And they're just like, trust us, bro. We're Nintendo.
That's Nintendo, man. They launch games for $60, and 20 years later, it's still $60. And it's another reason why people are upset about $80, because they're like, it's going to be $80 now. It's going to be $80 forever. It's never going to be a point where it drops to 60 and you can get it, except for those very rare occasions where they have a sale.
And Microsoft and Sony are both like, $80.
Yeah, for sure. But that's where this is like, even us talking about it this way, it's like their games are not $80. Like Donkey Kong's not. So Zelda is, and it's like, but that's where you get into the semantics confusing. Of like, it's confusing because the consumer is just going to hear what you said, right? Which is true. You're like, no, but it is $80. Everybody's buying Mario Kart. So that's their first impression, So
I will get one in 2026 to play the Dust Bloods. It will be my Dust Bloods machine.
Yeah.
And then by then, maybe it'll be the next Monster Hunter machine too, if they don't bring it out also on PC.
Like a Rise situation?
Yeah.
That would be cool for sure if they could get a nice cross progression set up for Wilds, and you could kind of continue your.
Oh, it's definitely never coming on the Switch too. Wilds is never going to the Switch.
You don't think they can get Wilds? Like, why not?
Definitely not. No, I don't think there's any way. Because they're saying it's as powerful as like a PS4.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're getting Elden Ring and Cyberpunk to run out at launch. I don't see why Wilds could not be figured out.
Cyberpunk was also on the PS4.
Yeah, but
was it though? Really?
It was.
Do it. All I will say is I know very little about what Switch is capable of, but scaling back on what Wilds is, I don't see why they couldn't figure that out, and why they wouldn't
work it out.
Yeah.
Mark my words, it's never coming.
I'm not saying it may take them a while, but again, I'm scaling down, right? You have to drop polygonal counts on a lot of stuff. And I don't know. Yeah, like I wonder what Switch can handle in terms of like the draw distance with some of those worlds and stuff. But it's not to be disproven yet. The point is, if it's, I hear
here,
you.
right now.
I hear you.
But yes,
But I don't see why.
The way that Monster Hunter works is you get the main line, and then you get a portable other Monster Hunter that comes out. I would expect the next one to be on Switch, and hopefully they also launch it on PC at the same time. But they might not.
Let's hope we get both.
Copy that.
Is is Hollow Knight, what's it called? Silk Song?
Silk Song.
Mm-hmm.
Silk Song. Is that's not going to be like a timed switch
Exclusive?
thing? Do we know?
I don't think
No, it's
so.
coming.
Hades
So it's
2
coming
is.
to Switch 1 actually as well. So you will be able to play it on your other Switch. But it's you can wishlist it on Steam right now. So Silk Song will be on Switch and PC.
I gotta
And
figure
I
out
think
what I'm
probably
gonna play
also
on.
consoles. Probably.
If it comes out on
talk
PlayStation, that's where I'm gonna
marathon?
play it. Yeah, let's talk some marathon.
Marathon, yeah.
Marathon, because
They had a
last
big
week.
weekend last weekend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So last week
left
was
off-
the beginning of the ARG, just before the
Yeah.
podcast, and then
Yep.
do you know the full detail? I mean, I tried to follow the ARG. I was like, this is giga brain.
It was like, so there was something that was sent out to a creator which had a code on it, which people didn't realize until a little bit. People started seeing more marathon stuff happen, so they brought up like the old websites from the previous ARG, and they're like, oh, it's up. And then the Twitter account started posting stuff. There was a MIDA Twitter account that then started posting things. And then the big kind of breakthrough started when that website link was posted that made an OBS overlay. So if you had this overlay on OBS, the more viewers that were watching with this overlay on your OBS opened up more code for people to crack. So I don't know the details of cracking the code or how they did it, but it gradually through various social media accounts and images and websites and all sorts of stuff. There was even a point where they found the word rage, R-A-G-E, from one of the codes that were going on, and they found that they had to go to a website and press all of those keys at once, which would then enter a database, which you could like find
that was the big
weapon
moment.
models and soundtracks and stuff like that.
Yeah, it was actually Control R where you refresh that site and then you held Rage, the keys, which then a console appeared on that site. I forget if it was the UESC site. But yeah, effectively, that's where it starts. So you had exactly what Watts said. And in those images, there were, patterns that were part of this console that then people started to get into directories. And then they started to put 2 and 2 together, which led to some, I think it's hex code, which led to some keys that they could start putting in. And then they were able to unlock like a sound file. The sound file then created like unique sounds, I guess, that were then people interpreted as numbers and letters, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. So
it was crazy, yeah.
A cool ARG hacking concept, and it seems to be very much the DNA of what Marathon is. I think what they did was cool. Just like if the boil down of it is like people who like ARGs, I'm gonna guess they did a good job and it's super fun. Yeah, I didn't get into it, so I wouldn't know how to rate it.
So did we find out anything about the game?
But before we get to that, the thing that I think is really cool about doing it like this was the OBS overlay thing, because you had to have a certain amount of viewers watching, not just you, but watching like everyone in order to unlock more of the code, which is a really cool way to market while also starting to build a community before the game is out. So it's like, hey, if you're interested in Marathon at all, like we're all together watching to get more code so we can break this ARG and find out more information. So I thought that was a cool way to try and like establish a community before the game comes out.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. It's like end of the day, it was just a marketing ARG, but they created the image of, especially, through, I think it was 10,000 people with that overlay, like of unlocking the game reveal. I think they created a sense that the community helped unlock it. In a way they did, but Bungie has the numbers on many of these games through Destiny's history, and even long before that, they know they had plans to make sure that it gets unlocked in time for Saturday, which, by the way, April 12th, as of recording this, if it's past this at 10 a.m., it has been revealed. So then we'll get our gameplay reveal, right?
April 12th, so to Briar's point, there was a trailer that was unlocked. And the trailer didn't have like gameplay in it, but it did give you a pretty decent look at the world. We got introduced to like this robot cat. We got to see someone like extracting in the background, it looked like, and another character being brought down. And this was ultimately leading to them saying that we will be having a gameplay reveal on April 12th at 10 a.m. Pacific, like Fran said. But also right when this happened, a bunch of creators, but not just creators, but like publications. You had Jeff Keighley all posting that they had just played Marathon. So I think when April 12th happens and they have the official reveal of the gameplay, I think you're probably also going to at least get gameplay impressions from all over the place. Or you might even get more gameplay from them potentially.
Yeah. Did you guys get a box from them at all or sign up for any of that stuff? But
no,
I did not respond.
What happened?
No.
So we got, a hat from Bungie
I like that.
as part
Escape
of the.
will make me God.
Escape, will make me God. And like go to the escape
cool.
will make.me site is really cool to hear the audio. And yeah, so it's just a little box of goodies, a little silkworm, which I guess is maybe. Which is crafting, like the armor, and that was most of it, like a T-shirt and a little like gotcha toy. This one is really cool.
I really like that one. Yeah,
it's like the little kitty cat that we see here. I'll put it up against the hat because it's hard to see otherwise. But we got a little kitty cat.
Yeah, that was really cool.
So,
I like that.
And this is all in line with, I think, on the side of this it says, I think it says Sakaguchi, if it focuses. It's backwards, I guess. But anyway, that's like one of the factions. So, but yeah, they did send this out. I got one of them having signed up early, and it was, sent out as effectively, a way to get folks to promote that it's happening Saturday. So full disclosure, they did send that, and it's kind of an ad in that sense. But yeah, so I'm excited regardless of them sending that. Like, to me, seeing the trailer you just talked about again, Watts, it reinforced that they're going for a pretty bold looking design. And then hearing the audio on that escape will make.me page is so cool. It sound like their audio teams and everything.
Audio is good.
It's amazing to see
the
AAA polish that Bungie can offer. And I think regardless if you're like, honestly, I don't care about PvP. Maybe it's got live service components. I don't care about that. I think it's probably going to be worth just checking out, seeing the polish level, hopefully. Because I don't know, I haven't seen it, but that's what I'm excited about.
The art direction is just, how it's so unique and creative that not even just in extraction games or PvP games, but we don't normally see in really any games in general, like a really unique art style. Like you're not going to see that and go, that's some other game. Like, that will be Marathon whenever you see it. And just that it's super cool. And the artists on Twitter have been going into a bunch of details about it. And there was some interesting stuff about what the original Marathon's art was, which was very based in the time that it was created. And they're like, well, we can't do that because it doesn't really translate anymore. So they took old Marathon and kind of thought of how they can give the same feeling that the original Marathon kind of art style did, but for modern times. So the artists have been going on Twitter and talking about a lot, which has been really cool. And the soundtracks have been amazing. They've been really, really good. Like I'm not normally an extraction shooter person, but I just want to experience the game. And then if I like it, fantastic. If I don't, I'll still be happy that I checked out the world and all that. Yeah,
and to confirm, all their pages still say it's a PvP extraction. It actually doesn't say PvPVE, not that to say it may not have that, but all their pages just say PvP extraction. So I don't know how many people in these maps but it is going to be that kind of game. We know that right now. But that's what I'm curious to see. Like someone who's played Dark Zone and Division, I've played DMZ and COD and Tarkov. I think it's inspired by a lot of that stuff. But this is coming from Bungie, who made Halo and Destiny and PvP stuff with that. So how they approach it is where I'm just hoping to see like, oh, that's interesting. And I would expect there to be like a couple different modes, right?
Well, so they said they have confirmed that there's going to be 3 maps at launch.
Really?
Oh. Yeah. So I don't know where I saw that. Might have been like the website, but I'll check Steam as well.
Check it,
yeah, they were talking about how there's going to be not just one map coming, which is pretty cool.
I would assume not. But I mean, by the way, it's a good reminder for folks that see this. Some people out there, I think, see like, oh man, Bungie, Destiny was failing, and so they had to make this, and then why'd they pick Extraction? And like, this is like their 3rd franchise in over a couple decades. Like Bungie doesn't do this now. There's a lot of changes that have happened since Halo came out in 2001 or whatever. But the point I'm just trying to make is this has been, we know for a fact, has been out there since at least 2017 being spun up. So you're talking a 7-year project at least. Never mind what, if you know who Jason Jones is and like how they sort of incubate projects and stuff at Bungie, that, you know, they do take this stuff super seriously. So that's where I'm just very curious to see. Company that pivots from Halo to selling Halo to making Destiny to influencing live service the way it has. And then it's like, let's make a PvP extraction based on, by the way, of course, Marathon was a previous IP, but you know, the gameplay I don't think will resemble anything like the first Marathon stuff, which was before Halo. But yeah, so I am hyped for that reason.
Yep. I'm hyped, curious for the point of view of seeing what happens, because it's going to be interesting either way. It's going to pop off. I'm interested if it's wildly successful. What does that mean for Destiny? I'm interested in what does it mean for Bungie if it doesn't do well. I'm interested. It doesn't matter which way it goes. I think it's going to be interesting to follow as someone who covered Destiny for 10 years. Like, how is this going to impact Bungie and how they either continue to support Destiny and make it better? Does it lift all tides? You know, does it take a lot of pressure off and they can, you know, give the players who don't want PvP, do they give them better experiences down in Destiny? Or, you know, is it like Epic Games and like Epic Games just dropped all their other IPs, said Fortnite's the way to go, you know? Like, it's big enough. We want to move everyone over to it. So
that's a really, you just nailed on something I was thinking about, which is like, I do think the biggest clapback is going to be, despite them having told us for over a year, it's a PvP game. All the people are going to be like, oh man, it's PvP. You know, you're going to hear a huge wave of reaction on that. But like comparing it to like Fortnite is interesting of like, they're like, yeah, like think how huge that market is. Granted, that is a free game and this is assumed and speculated to be a premium pay for game, but
yeah, I mean, look, you don't really see many sci-fi extraction shooters like Watts was saying with the art style as well. If you've ever played the extraction, like the most hardcore ones like Tarkov, very dark, you know, very gritty, very brown, very like looking for a pixel kind of deal. Whereas, you know, I don't feel like that's going to be a thing here. Also, not a huge amount of extraction shooters on the market that have Bungie's kind of gunplay as well. I think people would be expecting that to feel really good. There are some of the Chinese versions that I actually feel pretty good now and kind of catching up to the market with gunplay. But once again, still set in, you know, modern military, you know, Call of Duty style. So it doesn't have that sci-fi feel to it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we're less than 48 hours away from it, but so, you know, a lot of this will be,
we will see.
I'm interested to hear everyone's thoughts on it too, like people who have played it. I really am hoping it's not just an extraction shooter and there is some Bungie magic in there that really separates it apart from just the art style and apart from the direction and apart from the gunplay, because I don't know if you can just rely on that.
That's what I've said too. Yeah, I'm like, the art style is great and the audio is great and like Bungie does really good with making it, you know, feel good. But people also look to Bungie to do something unique and put a spin on it and bring something fresh to an existing genre. So if they're not going to be doing anything that kind of is unique for this genre, then that would be disappointing. So I don't just want like another extraction shooter, but now it's like AAA and it's on consoles and looks cool. I want it to offer something that's a unique take on it.
They really, really early on, I remember them talking about the lore of Marathon and the worlds being steeped in it and almost kind of like community puzzles to solve to like evolve the map kind of deal. I don't know if any of that still stayed around. But that would definitely be something that's not currently in extraction shooters, and typically people don't work together in extraction shooters either. And we know Bungie has had a long history of trying to create communities in games. I mean, it'd be very interesting if they had mechanics that encouraged you to work together rather than to kill each other.
That would be interesting, yeah. Like maybe you're trying to open an area and you're like,
extraction
either,
they're
like, do you have the thing, the whoozy floozy?
You
have the doozy woozy.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they still did some of that. You know, I think before it was before the director, from Valorant came in, they were talking about a lot of that stuff in the last reveal, right? Like there was talk of like being the world's first team, right? Like hearing that Destiny language of you're the first to unlock it and maybe cement your name on the wall of, heroes as you've unlocked this part of the map, or like that was the impression I think we were getting. And whether or not it's kept any of that, I don't know, but it certainly sounds like something they would do. And plus with the ARG being the way it is, it almost seems like they're going to be doing stuff like that where you find some weird terminal in the map and you're like, guys, have you seen this? While you're in the middle of this extraction fight. And that is, to me, that's like something that it's great for the viral nature. I think it would be super awesome too, but like most players don't experience that. It's just good for the vibe,
I think
so it
when
needs
it comes
to be bigger
like
than that is all I'm saying.
Collaborative extraction shooters, like personally I've found the ones that do it best is when you really have difficult NPCs that are kicking your ass. When you're much more likely to negotiate when you're down to your last magazine and you've got one med kit left. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's when I've always had the best experiences in extractions. Like, hello, do you want to not fight? You get the voice
I've got
comment.
this boss down to half health and the loot's really good. And, I've already done half the work.
Yeah, pretty much, right?
It never works like...
But I think that's actually what Miyazaki and FromSoft are trying to do with Dustbloods as well, which we'll talk about in more detail later. But they've talked about collaborating with people. If you have a really hard boss, maybe that is the thing that makes people not just run up on you and kill you, because you're like, we can literally get down to the two of us. If we do this, we might have to fight after.
Yeah.
But we can eliminate everyone else if we just kill this boss now.
And like Tarkov's done something similar where they'll have certain extraction points that require multiple people or multiple from different factions. So like there'll be an extraction point that might be quite advantageous near loot or near the center of the map that's easily accessible, but you need a PMC and a scav. They're like just different factions basically. So you need to like recruit someone else like, hey, do you want to not shoot each other and extract together? And then, that's something that could force you to work together. It kind of, now that I'm saying it loud, I kind of feel like that's maybe what Bungie would explore, knowing their history with raids and dungeons, and we'll see.
Also, I mean, it's going to be great because one of the artists is called Tobias, and Tobiases are only winners. So
that is true.
Big the doof.
There you
go. Did anyone play that South of Midnight? Did you get a chance to play it?
I was going to play it today. I was going to play it today before the podcast. But I saw a trailer on Twitter and I played that game instead.
That's how it works.
Was this what was
getting a lot of good reception?
Yeah, so I can talk about this game. This game is called Promise Mascot Agency. It is by a indie studio. They're called Khazan Gameworks. Their previous game was Paradise Killer, if anyone is familiar. But this game is where you play as an ex-Yakuza member who is tasked with raising 12 billion yen. And the way that you're going to do it is by running a mascot agency.
Oh, this sounds good.
Like mascots... Where do the mascots go? Like the public appearances, sports games,
yes, birthday parties, restaurant openings.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Is that what that thumb was? That was a mascot?
Yes, that is a mascot. Yes.
Okay.
Although she's not allowed to do mascot work anymore because she's violent. So she is now my personal assistant.
I would think that'd be encouraged by the Yakuza.
Well, we're not trying to let people know that we're the Yakuza.
Oh,
we don't want people to know. We faked our death, so we're trying not to let people know.
Okay.
But the gameplay of this game is like you drive around kind of GTA style in a car, and you find mascots. There's also things called mascot heroes. So sometimes mascots will get into trouble on jobs. That's either getting stuck in a door, fighting a child, killing somebody, and then you have to send a mascot hero to save them.
Who amongst us has not gotten in a fight with a child in a mascot suit? I mean, it's just an unavoidable situation in everyday life.
Yeah, I think so. I can see it happening if you're a mascot.
Yeah.
You're
kids
hot,
suck,
you're tired, child's pissing you off.
right?
It could
Booger
happen.
eating little bastards, right, Mylan?
Yeah.
And it's more likely to happen if they're tired. So if you like send them out on a job when their stamina is low, they might end up punching a kid sooner rather than later.
It's hot in those things.
It is hot. Yeah. So the music is also really good. It's got like this very kind of 80s Japanese vibe. Like the art, the art is really good.
Time.
Yeah, the tofu. I just unlocked tofu. That's one of my new mascots. He cries all the time, so he's soft tofu, but he really wants to be firm tofu one day.
Oh,
So
well,
we're trying to get him
crying.
It's so fat shit insane.
Yeah, I'm loving this.
It's fully voice acted, and like they have some real voice acting talent, which is awesome. And yeah, it's just got a lot of personality. There's a thumb flipping people off. Yeah, just got a lot of personality. It's silly. It's the way that I describe it as well is like if you've played the Yakuza games, and you've played the side missions in Yakuza games. Right. It's as if the side missions in Yakuza were a video game. Yeah.
It does look like that. Okay.
Does this propose a world where like there's just mascots hanging out, like unemployed mascots in their suit, and like you're just like picking them up and employing them?
Yeah, so we're going to like an abandoned town in Japan, and all the mascots are out of work because everyone left. So we're trying to like revigorate the town and hire mascots and make 12 billion yen.
How much is 12 billion yen in dollars?
12 billion yen in USD. 83 million.
That's quite a bit.
Yeah.
It's a lot of monies for mascots. A lot of mascots.
This came out today. I will say, if you are interested in the game, the beginning of it, there's a lot of story setup. So just be prepared for that. But if you are prepared for that, like the voice acting and the story and everything is really, really funny. Like my cheeks started hurting because it's so funny. Okay. Really, really enjoyable.
Sold.
Yeah.
Can you tell? What's the gameplay loop again? You drive around collecting mascots, is that, and then selling them to work, right?
Yeah. So you drive around. So it is a management game as well. So you drive around in your truck and you're looking for new mascots. You're also looking around to try and get them jobs. You're collecting cards of these mascot heroes to buff them because it's also kind of a card game when they get stuck or in a fist fight. Only during that part though. And then yeah, you have like a management UI where you're managing like your mascots that are on jobs. Are they in trouble? Who's tired? Who needs time off? Who needs a pay raise? Ugh. So it's got all of that management stuff of like, are they tired? Are they happy? How are they doing? And you're trying to make a profit.
This game.
No, thank you.
They're trying to make
I've done enough of that in real life.
While also trying to
that's funny.
Yeah, but
happy.
You know what? Maybe this is the kind of game of management I could get into because it's so goofy.
Yeah.
It is very, very goofy.
You know, that brings some spice to it.
I've really enjoyed it so far. I haven't played much. I'm at like 2 hours. I think now I'm just at the point. So I have already done a mascot job, but now I'm at the point where I'm in the open world and I'm able to kind of do whatever I want. So the first like 2 hours, granted I am like streaming as well, but the first 2 hours was like introducing the characters and the town and why you're there and the premise before you end up taking over this mascot agency, and teaching you the game. Yeah, it's $22.49 on Steam. $22.49. So
they nailed their exact margins with that price, man. No more, no less than $22.49.
It's $24.99.
It's on sale, yeah.
Yeah, but as with all games, especially indie games that come out on Steam, they get introduced at a discount. So yeah, I'm gonna play it at the end of streams. It's yeah,
that might be cool. Chill.
I fell in love with the character Pinky like really, really quickly. The voice actors are genuinely really good. They're sassy and silly, and they all have such great personalities. I really, really liked it.
Nice.
Under the recommendation of TV, I'm gonna try the Wildgate playtest.
Oh, sweet.
Oh yeah.
Which is Sea of Thieves in space.
Yeah.
As far as I'm
Little bit.
concerned.
Yep.
Yeah, so I hope I'll get a little bit of time to play that this weekend, and I
you
can
haven't
share my
yet.
thoughts
I'd love
next
to
week.
hear
It's
them.
just gone live, I think.
Nice.
It's only until Monday as well. So
Is that open or did
Is
you
it-
have to sign up for it?
no, I was asking everyone. I was asking TV if he had a contact. He didn't have a contact, and thankfully my brand agency had someone they knew in there. I applied like on the website and stuff, but I think I got in because I knew someone. So I think it's just a closed beta. And I don't have any more keys, unfortunately. Otherwise, so I don't know how it's going to go because you kind of need a crew. So I don't know how the matchmaking is going to go. And
Yeah.
Man, I
so
want to
I'll
play
probably
that.
be other streamers.
Should try to
Hello?
make time for it, but
Are you
yeah,
live?
I'd love to, but so much to do. Speaking of which, did anyone try the Metal Eden demo I've been talking about for a long time?
No.
You tried it. I didn't.
I did.
saw your stream. I didn't do it.
Yeah. Metal Eden was the game that I saw in that PlayStation. What do they call it? Not showcase, not direct. I always skip the name of theirs.
State of play.
The state of play. That's they have both versions. But anyway, yeah, I remember seeing it in there. I was like, man, this game looks cool. I hope it's good. And then I'm like, oh, a demo's coming out. Anyway, flash forward. It is available right now, I think, if you want to check out the Metal Eden demo. Yeah, it's very much like a very fast moving, keep in motion, first person shooter, that really emphasizes like motion. But it's also using Unreal Engine 5, so they're trying to pull off this really high-end, cyberpunky kind of look in the midst of it. And yeah, like the art style and everything is really cool. The story actually
Looks
seems
great.
kind of neat. Like, so presentationally, really nice on that front. And it looks really nice too. Granted, I'm playing on a 4080 on a pretty good CPU. But that being said, before I get into the full gameplay stuff, that was one of the biggest things. I was like, okay, I'm actually I leave on a lot of filters and motion blur and style in games. I'm a defender of that, actually. I'm like, look, first thing we keep training everybody to do is, yeah, just shut it off. Motion blur sucks. And like, I get it. I know why people don't like it, but I feel like people just overreact all the time and just shut it off. They don't even give it a chance. This one, I was not more than a few minutes in. I was like, oh, man, it's a lot of motion blur going on here and just like effects. And part of it, I think it almost felt like, I didn't even have frame gen on, but there was something going on with just like how it handles a lot of stuff. So that needs to be tuned up. There was no like frame rate limiter even. It needs some optimization, but this very well could have been from, 4 or 5 months ago to make this demo for all we know. So we'll see. Comes out in May. But gameplay wise, so you start playing and you're like, okay, keep moving. Got it. You rip sort of these metal heart core things. It's actually more of a brain out of enemies, which sort of gives you these powers and cooldown of your powers as you go. So there's basically a mechanic of getting these little, hearts in your hand, so to speak, and you can crush them, power up, and then maybe melee an enemy for like a super melee. And you also can just use it to straight up like as a tactic to kill enemies. But in short, you're constantly like in motion, running forward, and wall running is a part of it. And I think that's what stands out a lot. You'll end up in a little like mini boss room and you're running around like more in a circle. I kind of, I didn't play Ghost Runner, so I don't know if it has some similarities there. I know that game was big on wall running, but that wasn't a first person shooter, right? That's like third person, right? Or maybe it was. But it's melee
no, I think
based.
Ghost Runner was first person,
But it's
it was
melee
most with the
more
sword, wasn't it?
Yeah. But anyway, what I will say is at first I'm like, I don't know, and then the more I played it and a little bit like I equate it to something more like Tony Hawk, even of like once you start getting your combos and your grind, down, you're like, well, okay, this is kind of fun. There is some stuff to get you to. So I think it's got potential. Nothing stood out to me as like bad design or anything like that. It's just sort of like, where will it go and what's really going to hook us in? And but it's totally decent demo. Check it out and give it some time and play to the end, I would say. If
I'm going to check this out. Does it remind you of Doom 2016 at all when you're playing it?
Yeah, it's like Doomish.
I didn't play it ton of Doom 2016, or I don't remember, but that was just like super fast, right? And yeah, you stayed in motion and had to just constantly destroy everything. Absolutely, it's got those inspirations.
Yeah. You know what it did remind me of? Remind me of an indie game called Battle Shapers.
Battle Shapers.
Yeah, Battle Shapers it's really, really, really good. You can actually get it right now for $15. There's also a demo available. But it's an indie game. It came out last December. And it's this one is a roguelite, first-person roguelite, where it's all the same. You're in an arena, you're trying to shoot all of the guys, you're trying to not take damage, you're using all of your weapons and abilities and movement to try and
that's like
make it through.
Arena. Yeah, interesting.
It's really, really good. If anyone's interested in that kind of like high action, fast shooter.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah, I mean, in more detail, like what you're doing, and it's campaign only as far as I can tell right now, which to me I like, and I don't think it has a price yet, so we'll see. But yeah, you're getting skill set stuff, obviously. So you have like 3 different trees to choose from, and when you complete, a main mission, you'll have a chance to like upgrade your core, which by the way is your consciousness, that humans figured out how to like capture consciousness and shoot it out into space and live on forever. And so that's what it's based on. But so you can upgrade to things like, rip that core heart out from enemies farther away. Or when my armor drops to a certain point, I, send out a freezing shatter move, speed up, things like that. And then on the side of that, you get currency throughout the levels to buy things from the store. And the store, you're buying mods for different guns. So I got, a pistol, a shotty, then your base like assault rifle. So you could, your assault rifle has infinite bullets, but it will overheat. So you have to put it away and rely on, your secondary. And that's where you can like add a laser to the pistol, a laser that then ricochets twice, or you can have like, get your shotty in there. And it's also like it looks like you're eventually going to have like 6 weapons on you. I don't know what the weapon max is, but I was looking at the key controls and it's like, it has like, keybinds 1 through 6 for all the different weapon types. And when I had 3 weapons, you can scroll through however you want and use all those and just kind of mix it up. So definitely is good looking and I think has potential to just be kind of good arcadey fun. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'm going to play this demo. This looks great.
Yeah.
Yeah, check out the demo.
Oh, a pro tip, if you do get bothered by the motion blur, post-processing, just turn that all the way down for a few and maybe post-processing. That's where it seems to be hiding some of that, but there is no separate motion blur at this time.
Yeah, and it's pretty egregious in that game. I don't normally get bothered by it especially when I'm watching gameplay at all. But I tuned into Fran's stream and right away I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
I see it on the YouTube trailer.
I might have even had it turned down when you came in. Like there's a lot on that front. So yeah, but again, it's crazy. There is no motion blur that you can turn off. There's also no frame rate limiter. So it's just a demo. We'll see. I hope they get those in there.
Oh, speaking of accessibility, just really quick, the game that we were just talking about, the Mascot Agency one, has a ton of settings for all of that stuff, like an absolute ton. It's even got I've only seen this in one other game before, but it's got dyslexic text. So the way that they do the text is apparently a lot easier for dyslexic people to read it and not mess up, where things are placed. And we had some dyslexic people in chat the first time that I saw this option in a game, and they're like, "Ha, that's crazy! That actually does help a lot." And I was like, "Yeah, there you go."
What's it do? How's that work?
Well, what does it? Yeah, what does it do?
It's hard to say. It just makes the text look different.
Does it not use all capitals? Does it make sure it has lowercase and capitals to help with like recognition?
I don't know what it's doing.
Does
Look
it
it
look
up.
like a
Look up
captcha?
dyslexic text. Kinda. Kinda. Yeah, it's just a different type of font. Yeah, it's a different font. It's really, really interesting. But I was surprised because again, this is an indie game that's self-published, and it's yeah, they have a ton of settings for all of that stuff.
Nice.
It's the spacing and shape of the font. More definition to each letter.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? You could just like change the font and help people out.
Yeah, now
Human
people are like, oh, I
brains
can
are
read it.
fucking weird.
Yeah, human brains are weird.
You want to hear something weird or stupid? Really? You want to hear something stupid?
Yeah.
Yes and yes.
All right. So BAFTA, you guys know what BAFTA is?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The
British Academy of Film and Television Awards.
Nailed it. They came
Wow,
out
so
with a
British.
list of the top 21 most influential games.
Oh dear.
Would you guys like to hear that list?
Yes.
Oh, I was looking at some of that.
What?
I saw the
Of
number.
all
I saw the number one.
I would like to. I
Of
would
all
like
time?
to. So this is most
Yeah.
influential, right?
Yeah.
As-
Influential? Okay.
And
What
I
do you
think
mean
as voted on by
influential?
they probably had some basic criteria, but I
I
think
mean,
it was
the
an
list
audience
will
vote.
explain it for you.
Yeah, it was. I think right. It was an audience vote, right? It wasn't like their jury,
Yeah.
was it?
Yeah.
It was just like we could have voted if you took the time.
I mean,
Okay.
I think.
hey, I'll go out. Number 21, Grand
Okay.
Theft Auto.
Oh, 21.
The
The first
original,
one.
The first
or
one.
like
Yeah, super.
Just like the
influential.
franchise in general?
Yeah,
No.
dude, that was like top down.
Oh, the
This is a
first
specific
Okay.
game, Grand Theft Auto.
Oh, okay. Okay. All right.
I guess influential because it encouraged you to be a villain and steal cars.
I don't know.
The open world style of carjacking stuff was really, I think, probably what made it so influential.
It
at the
was a
time.
really fun game. But I would
Yeah,
not
we-
call it
we
influential.
should
Like
guess
there's not,
what makes it
Wait,
influential.
really? Oh, I completely agree with that one.
there's not a ton of Grand Theft Auto 1 likes running around.
Yeah,
but this is.
I mean, it's
this
like
is-
it was saying Mortal Kombat, influenced, or Doom, or Wolfenstein. I mean, they need to be on the list. If they're on the list, I'm getting pissed off.
Well, prepare to be pissed off. 20, The Elder Scrolls 5, Skyrim.
I feel like
19,
that should be maybe higher, to be honest. Okay.
Grand Theft Auto 3.
That's
Oh.
San Andreas.
Not San Andreas. I mean, Grand
So-
Theft Auto 3 was an influential game. There
Oh,
were
yeah.
a million open world games that came out that were just like Grand Theft Auto.
I still have to interject and remind. I did double check. This is the audience that we asked the public a provocative question.
Brand, that
So-
makes it worse.
I know, but I just want to remind. This is the same audience that, and I like Wukong for a lot
that
of
makes it
reasons.
worse.
For the
This is
Game
why
Awards,
humans should not be allowed to leave reviews.
but you
Or
guys
vote.
nailed it.
They
What's the
asked us
criteria?
Voted the original Grand Theft Auto.
It's a broad question, is my point. So
It would be a more interesting
Yeah.
survey if like developers had been surveyed for this.
Mm.
There
That would
are
be
We got
influence
a
out
interesting.
reason
there.
for
Who's
why it was
influenced-
influential.
The people who had been influenced and then created more stuff that shows that
Yeah.
influence.
I mean, I've made these lists in the past at IGN. I'm like, these lists do
IGN
exist.
though, Fran. Come on.
I mean, come on. You can't just put IGN
give
in the
that list a
bucket of the
7 out of
last
10.
30 years of being the same, okay? That's all I'm saying. I was there.
It's IGN.
When I was
Come on
there.
now, an IGN
No.
list. Jesus Christ.
Anyway, can do
Number 18,
I'm
Dark
I'm
Dark
kidding,
Souls.
by the way. I'm kidding. I've watched
Yeah.
a lot of IGN stuff.
Sorry
Some of
about
it's good. Some of it makes me want to murder somebody. Not a real person. They
more
are
objective.
Number 18 is Dark Souls. I think that one's dead
Should
on
be
the money.
higher.
Should be higher. Number 17, Final Fantasy 7. Number
Should be higher.
16, Baldur's Gate 3, a game that came out like a year ago. What has that influenced?
But
Influential.
bro, why are you angry? These are all okay suggestions.
Baldur's
I feel.
Gate 3. What game have you played that was influenced by Baldur's Gate 3, Mylon?
Well, I think it's the predicted influence of having a
Predicted
game
influence.
of so much
We think
content.
this is
How
influential.
do you
We
put
think-
Baldur's Gate on this list and put a 3 after it?
Well,
Are you
okay,
saying
but
there's no other Baldur
if you
Gates on
think
here?
if you think about how people were influenced by it, they're like, I got so much content, so much game here. This is what games should be.
It's not
This
the
is
best
influenced-
game of all time. It's most influential.
Influential.
look,
Yeah,
Take-
but
let-
you're influencing the consumer.
I
They
wouldn't.
influence them to stop playing Call of Duty.
Yeah.
Yeah, wait. Again, like this is a broad question, then it's the public. But I actually would not disagree with any of these choices, like in sort of a broad sense. I don't think they're bad choices. Like the way you think they're bad choices. But let me
I
give you
think
an
they're bad
example.
choices.
This is way different, obviously. But like Super Mario 64, one of the most influential games of all time, for a lot of reasons. But one of them was like the 3D camera work and the way that it handled it. And it taught developers, and then a slew of things came after. I don't
Yeah.
think anybody would argue against it. But like it's things like that. Now I don't know what the public was thinking. Well, that's what Briar's pointing out. It just came out.
Okay.
It's a good question.
Number 15, World of Warcraft.
Oh, yeah.
Number 14, Metal Gear Solid.
Oh yeah,
That's-
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Number 13,
influential.
Pong.
Nah,
Number 12, Tomb Raider.
Too many, yeah.
Number 11, Tetris. Number 10, The Sims.
I mean, yeah.
I would agree with that actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just
Look
that-
at Inzoi right now. Look at Inzoi.
That whole
Number
like,
9, Half-Life
playing
2.
God.
Half-Life 2.
Yeah.
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 Number 8, Super Mario 64. That should be
Yeah,
higher up.
There you go.
Yeah.
Number 7, Kingdom Come Deliverance 2.
Okay.
Number
I
7.
think they may
That
have
does-
not. They may not have understood the question and just put like their favorite game of all time.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
I don't understand the question.
Influential.
It's funny to so actually sorry, go ahead.
Influencing who? Me, the consumer, developers, the market?
I mean, I would
Publishers-
assume influential for video games, right? Like, this influenced the future and history of video games.
I mean,
No?
if I said what are the most influential bands or music artists of all time, I think
Yeah.
people get that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. They influenced other bands.
I think that's all they
Okay,
were
yeah.
getting at, right? It influences games to come, including the people who make them and buy, how we listen even.
There's been so
I
many
don't
games influenced by Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 in the last 3 months.
There
It's
has.
been
There's
unbelievable.
been a lot.
But
Like,
I don't-
frankly, I'm sick of my Kingdom Come likes at this point.
Yeah, I know. And
I,
I
hear
know
what
I'm
you're saying.
playing,
This does seem like people just thought of the game they played most recently.
yeah, I was gonna say I know I'm playing devil's advocate here. I haven't played Kingdom Come, but a lot of these I wouldn't argue that they're not influential, but they don't say why, and something
But
like
to put
Kingdom
them on
Come
a
Deliverance
list
is,
of
is
the most
No, I-
influential games.
But you ask the public, and this is what you get. But I was gonna say this is actually awesome to see because Brian, you nailed it off the top where you're like, this just came out with Baldur's Gate. Now you see an even better example.
Yeah.
It's in the top 5 almost, and it just came out. Like you see when you ask consumers a broad
That's some
question,
IGN math right there. It's in the
And
top
that's why
5
you're like-
almost.
and
Who, when you're voting for like best director, yeah, okay, people are not going to vote for the best director. They're just going to be like, oh, I thought that
People
movie
don't
was
even know what
cool.
the director does.
They don't. No, they don't.
Number 6 is Minecraft. Number 5
Yeah,
is
okay,
the
yeah.
Legend of Zelda:
That was
Ocarina
huge.
of Time.
Yeah. Oh,
Huge.
Yeah.
Number 4 is Half-Life, which I would put Half-Life 2 over Half-Life personally, as far as influential goes.
Yeah,
Half-Life
yeah,
was a great
probably-
game.
probably
Half-Life
really.
2 was a game changer,
Yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. Mhm.
Number 3 is Super Mario Bro. I think that's fair.
Fair.
Number 2 is Doom.
by the way, that's just
Fair.
let's make. Can we point out, Brian, that
Yeah.
is the like multiplayer one though, isn't it? Oh no,
Doom?
no. This is actually Super Mario Bros. I was looking at the box art. I thought they were
No,
talking
no,
about
yeah, Super Mario,
Mario
Brothers
Brothers.
for the Nintendo Entertainment
That's my
System. Like basically
The
one of the
first one, yeah.
first games that most people had ever seen that scrolled sideways.
Mm,
That
mhm,
weren't just a
mhm.
single screen. I mean,
Yeah, I was
that's
looking
number
at the
3. And then number
Yeah.
2 was Doom. Like
Mhm.
the first time I ever heard the term like after a name of a game was Doom like, right? It was like
Yeah, yeah.
every first person shooter after Doom came out was a Doom like for a long time.
Mhm.
And then you must be wondering what
Wolfenstein
could
came out
number
first,
1
didn't it?
be if number 3
Is it called
is Super Mario Brothers for the NES and number 2 is Doom. What could number 1 be? Well, obviously it's Shenmue for the Dreamcast.
That
Sounds
shocked.
new.
It did shock me, dude.
It's
That,
what?
That is interesting on many ways.
Yeah, it is
Shenmue.
interesting.
Don't know the game that
Shenmue for
is. What's it
Dreamcast.
called?
It released on
Shenmue.
Dreamcast.
Shenmue.
Shenmue.
Shenmue. If you
How do you
want to
spell
spell
it?
Shen Mue.
Yeah. Like a
Ugh.
cow?
M-U.
Or M-U?
MUE.
M-U-E. Hmm. Shenmue.
Oh, that game.
Hmm.
I mean, there's some. They have to
There's not a
somehow
single
like justify
fighting
this.
game.
No, Street Fighter 2
Yeah,
not on
weird
this
not
list.
To have, yeah,
There
weird
is
not to have
no.
any fighting games on that list.
There's like one turn-based game, which is
Yeah,
Final
no
Fantasy.
command, no Command and Conquer in there. No,
No, like Age of
Red Alert,
Empires or
Age of
like
Empires, yeah.
Civilization.
How about
SimCity.
Rogue?
StarCraft.
How many
What
games
about
are called
roguelikes?
roguelike?
Yeah, because of Rogue.
2025.
No, Halo.
Yeah.
Halo, that'd
Halo,
be
Halo PvP.
Yeah.
No,
That's pretty
Metroid.
influential.
Shenmue.
And you should write him. I reckon you should write him a letter. Write him a letter, bro.
Open
Write him
letter
a
to
letter and
everybody
say
who voted.
everyone you interviewed are idiots.
How did you guys even like? Was there a list of games that you had to pick from, or did people
how
write
did you
in
find-
Shenmue?
I know people like Shenmue, but I'm surprised that they found so many people that like Shenmue that it became the first most influential game ever made.
They have
There's no
write-ups
Resident
for
Evil.
every
Resident
game,
Evil should
and
be
they
in
have to
there, too.
justify it, and
Resident
it's
Evil?
worth reading the article, honestly.
Yeah.
To play devil's advocate? Because I was thinking about this because when Fran said, "Oh, well, you know, what's the most influential bands?" Like, okay, I can see where they're going with it. I think you could have recent games that are still very influential. Like you're similar to bands, you can have something that breaks the mold, that spawns a new pop culture. Like just because it's not old, I don't think it's not influential.
What does it
You can have-
influence, though?
Well,
Yeah, how do you prove
could-
something that's a month old is influential?
I think if people's minds are changed and they are going, well, I haven't thought of it doing that before, and that's unique. Like that's.
But it hasn't
being influenced.
influenced anything yet. You have to produce something
so you
for it to
reckon
influence.
people have to copy it for it to be influential?
I feel like it not necessarily copy, but like
Be inspired by
use
it.
the input. Yeah, use the input that they've gained from Kingdom Come Deliverance 2, and then
Like if we think
Produce
about
something.
how every third-person action game that you play now has at least one thing from Dark Souls, right? Whether it's going to be, or more, usually multiple.
Yeah.
They're normally going to have like bonfires. They're going to have a similar map design. They're going to have like the limited healing that refills, the respawning enemies when you rest, the health bar.
And that's
But
such
like,
a.
let's understand
actually, even
Baldur's Gate 3.
Sekiro now,
So
too.
do you think Baldur's Gate 3 had no impact on the gaming market? It was no influence?
I think
definitely
it's
did. This is what
unclear yet.
You need. I was just gonna say you were nailing it with talking about From Software because like this is why you need criteria because usually you're like Dark Souls super influenced. That's true, but was it Demon Souls or Dark Souls and why? What's the criteria around the discussion? And when you don't have that, which is why I'm always a stickler on this crap.
You probably just do
Nope,
Dark
I don't-
Souls because it's called Souls-likes.
That, but I bet you if you look at the actual gameplay advancements, right, and that's where you have to separate things. And I would just use an example. Is this about how it influenced people to buy games? Because we see that happen. Is a certain game comes out, the genre just becomes naturally popular. So everybody starts making that genre just because.
Yeah.
That doesn't mean that it's like the best game. But then
By the way, where's Fortnite?
Yeah, sure.
Hello?
I mean, or PUBG.
Well, where's PUBG?
Or PUBG.
Yeah.
PUBG would be it.
Yeah.
And that's it. Like I when I look at a list like this, it would definitely be mostly heavily weighted against how games are designed based on like the mechanics and just gameplay design, but some of like how it influenced maybe audience to buy stuff. But like in other words, sales you could have in that criteria do not matter, should not matter. Because then, like, that's where I look at this list and I'm like, yeah, like,
You know what? I reckon Bri should bring us dog shit lists every week because this is a fun discussion. Because like,
Yeah.
just
Can you do that,
just trying
Brian?
to
I would give you money.
There are certainly dog shit lists all across the internet.
just
There are on
just
everything,
trying to
on many
like
things.
decipher the question and the criteria without knowing it, and then putting our own pants apart.
That would be really fun.
All
Yeah.
right.
If you tell
less,
us like the
less
last
booger
one and
questions, more lists. That's my notes for the episode.
or even like tier lists that you find, like
Yeah,
tier
that
lists
are
that
bad,
are done,
yeah.
and you're like, what the? Yeah,
it makes me wonder with Shenmue being the winner.
If
Like,
they
did
asked
you have like a
80-year-olds.
Reddit? Well, hey now,
Hey,
Shenmue's cool,
watch it.
but
I like
literally-
Shenmue.
okay.
I'm also 80.
by the way, if
It's
you've
okay.
never played Shenmue, imagine walking around a quaint, I think like Japanese village, walking
Looking
into a
for
house
sailors.
and opening a drawer with your hands, and reaching in and pulling out an item and looking at it. And then going to like somewhere else and like, I mean, there were, missions. and
That's
stuff, but
early
it's like-
Resident Evil. Look at that. Inspirational.
But it was like
Influence.
I played Shenmue, and like that's what I remember a lot. It was like very much like there was a lot of things in it, but
there was a lot
like
of things and a lot of stuff and a lot of moving.
I gotta go back and watch some of it, but
imagine playing Yakuza, but everything you do is just like kind of daily life bullshit.
Yeah, that's
like
right.
all
that had
super
forklift
but now,
simulation
yeah,
in
like
it.
you go drive a forklift because you need money. So you can go to your
Exactly,
job.
yes. Making money at your job and like, dude, all that type of like
You need to
real
find
life
sailors, so
village
you
stuff.
ask everybody in town, hey, have you seen any sailors? I'm looking for sailors. You
Yes,
know where any sailors
yes.
are.
That's right, yes. But it made me
it
wonder.
obviously
I
had a
was gonna
strong impact
say,
on you, so it must have been influential.
I mean, honestly, Yakuza games probably have a lot of Shenmue DNA.
oh yeah,
Um,
I'd say definitely.
so yeah, I mean, I would say it probably is a pretty influential game. I'm just really surprised based on the other things in that list
Yeah,
that like
number
Shenmue
one?
was there. I expected it to be like a recent game maybe, because it just seemed like people were listing games they've played recently that
All right,
they liked.
I gotta list some of the games that they say were influenced by it. Okay.
Oh,
So,
there's
like,
that. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Oh, there's more details.
Grand Theft
BAFTA.
Auto and the Assassin's Creed franchise. You can see a direct lineage between Grand Theft Auto and Shenmue. I mean, they're open world, I guess. I mean, Shenmue is a proto open world at the beginning.
Yeah.
I don't know. Animal Crossing and Stardew Valley. I mean,
Well, yeah.
The Last
Animal
of Us
Crossing
Part
is
2,
going on,
God of
man?
War,
Wait,
and Uncharted
Harvest
4.
Moon.
Linking games together. What are these are what?
You know, it's kind of like you take Yakuza, right? Because it's got a lot of mini games. You say that any game with a mini game is inspired by. You're like,
Yakuza
well,
1.
there was pigeons in that game, so that's
No,
inspired by.
They're inspired by Ridge Racer because they had the Galaga mini game in between loading levels. So really, Ridge Racer is the most inspiring video game of all time.
It could be.
By the
I
way,
mean,
I'm here for nonsensical list articles.
It's just true. Like when you don't say why and like you're getting at, you really got to get into the details. Like the more I think about it, yeah, I think when was this? Like, was this
And I like how
99
it's
or
almost
2000?
triggering Fran too.
99.
That's my favorite part.
Dude, I've been in so many of these like argument meetings, but I was thinking this was like 2000. Was that it? Shenmue released it. Yeah.
99.
1999.
God, it made 99. Wow. Months
Yeah,
after.
I don't think the Dreamcast made
right?
it to the year 2000.
Yes, it did. How dare you? But what I was thinking about is back then, like, you're only a couple years after Legend of Zelda, the Ocarina of Time, and like, it's not like completely unfair to like experiencing a world like that, like living your life in a Japanese town and like job simulation, which Watts was just talking about, and like, I'm not saying it's number one. Just like you got to bring yourself back to like the end of 1999 and like a game that in full 3D, which was a term you used then as well. Hey, this is in full 3D. That's how you would talk about this game, So,
Yeah.
It's not completely off base, but at being number one over like, Super Mario Brothers, and like
Or Doom.
There's no. Someone's in chat. There's no Mario Kart in there either.
Nope.
Yeah, but that's where like, dude, there's to have a top 20-ish. That's where it gets rough, dude. Why should Mario Kart be in there over, all of these super influence? Like Brian just brought up Rogue. You're gonna have to fight him on like he'd be like, "Are you nuts?" Like as you're cutting down the list.
Yeah.
Like
really.
why wouldn't we include Rogue? And like that list gets hundreds, and it's super tough to cut down. So
Pitfall.
it's
should have
fun
been
though.
there.
It is fun.
Right?
Pitfall
How does
was-
Tomb Raider make it in Pitfall? Tomb Raider's
Yeah,
just
Pitfall-
a Pitfall ripoff. It's a Pitfall like.
It's also a side scroller.
Well, Tomb Raider influenced thirst traps in video games. That was the first one.
Tesla cars.
I don't know.
That was fun.
Yeah, that's a fun
Yeah,
list. Yeah.
sorry. This week it's stupid and it now concludes.
No, it's great. I want more of that.
You brought up my sticklerness.
Did I leave early last week?
Yeah, you
Off
had the
the podcast.
Monster.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Title update 1.
Yeah.
We haven't talked about it.
Oh, hey, title update 1 happened.
Good segue, Watts.
Speaking
Yeah,
of influential games, Monster Hunter, right?
Monster Hunter. Well, yeah, because actually,
Segue.
Monster Hunter, the very first Monster Hunter was created because Capcom wanted to create a game that could really take advantage of being like the very, very first early online games where you can play with other people 20 years ago.
What was the system that it was first on?
Ooh, the first ever one? I don't know.
I'm gonna look it up.
I'm not sure. The very first Monster Hunter. Yeah, but so last week, literally right about now, title update 1 for Monster Hunter Wilds came out. This was introducing Mizutsune, which is a new monster. It was also bringing high rank Zoshia, where you could get armor and weapons from both of them. They also
Is that the only way you could have fought Zoshia as well, other than playing the?
You could do SOS to fight like the story, the final.
If people SOS,
if people were
SOSing,
you
couldn't go to it. Okay.
No, it was this is the
so it's
only
like
way.
Zoshia full release as well.
Yeah, yeah. They also brought the Grand Hub, which is a gathering hub. This has a concert that happens, which is really cool. Because then you all just gather around and you watch this concert together. You get a buff after. It's great. Also,
Destiny could learn from that.
This might be the best animated lip syncing of like a character to a song that I've ever seen. Like they animate. It's crazy. If you are just check it out. Type in The Diva. Her name is The Diva. The Diva Grand Hub song singing.
And was she a throwback to a previous Monster Hunter?
Yes.
That's what.
Yeah, a lot of them are actually. Like there's a. This game is kind of like a love letter to like Monster Hunter 4 mostly. There's a lot in there. Even like there's a legendary blacksmith that's with Gemma in the Grand Hub. He's also an old character. So thanks.
I didn't even notice it.
Yes, that's it.
I just always go into Gemma. I didn't notice even who you're talking about. There's a new blacksmith at the hub.
There's a new blacksmith that is in the Grand Hub. He's an old Wyverian guy, and he's teaching Gemma to be better at blacksmithing. So she's very like, yes, sir. Oh, come right away.
Mylon is showing Diva if you're watching.
Yeah,
this portion
the
of the
Diva.
Well, you're not about to see the lip sync because you can't hear the music. But I mean, just imagine it's well lip synced.
It's honestly, as someone who is not.
They animate the vibrato of the character. It's kind of
It does look pretty good animation.
But it's cool. You just walk around the hub, and as someone who's not experienced much of this at all in Monster Hunter, I was like super impressed by the fidelity, and like it just starts happening, and you can sit down and have a drink at your table and cut. It allows you to like cut to the camera with just like the control, so you can just sort of watch it and enjoy it close up. It like you're seeing is really cool.
This looks like
other
Legend
games
of
can
Zelda
learn from
fanfic.
Because of the pointy ears. Is that why you're saying that?
They're Wyverians.
I guess so.
This is also a prayer. This is like a prayer thing that the Wyverians do.
Yeah, Briar, you heathen.
They also brought barrel bowling, which is another activity that you can do in the Grand Hub. So there's a bunch of things. You take a big barrel, right? Because now you can roll barrel bombs, and you roll it and try to hit as many things as you can, and you get materials when you do that. All of these things sound, you're like, yeah, okay, cool, yeah. But then you do it, and you're like, no, this is actually really good. Because you can have a bunch of people in there, and you're all throwing barrels at the same time. It says what score everyone get. Yeah. And being in there with people is awesome. There's also like the arm wrestling that you can do with people, so you can challenge people to arm wrestling. You can sit around and do a bunch of emotes, and the Grand Hub is really good. It's really, really good. I like it a lot. Oh, you can also do DoorDash cats now. So you can go and sit down for a meal, and the cats, the palicos, go and grab food from the various villages and bring it to you, depending on what you picked. DoorDash cats.
Oh. Do you pay a ridiculous fees for that or what?
You have to use a meal voucher. But if someone uses a meal voucher, everyone in the lobby can do it for free. So
yeah,
that's nice. But yeah, I mean, Zoshia's super fun fight. Freaking what an incredible fight. Oh my goodness, so good. And the armor and weapons look incredible. Mizutsune looks incredible. They also added the arena. So if you don't know what the arena is, it's where you get a predetermined loadout and you have to kill a certain monster in a certain amount of time to get an A rank or B rank or C rank.
Oh, predetermined loadout.
That's pretty cool because there's one with the bow and it has like no stamina skills, which is rough, but it's got a skill that makes you do more damage when things are poisoned. So you have to look at what the armor is and go, okay, what are they trying to get me to do here?
So do you get to pick from a number of predetermined, or you just get one choice?
Yeah, there's a couple different choices that you can pick.
But if you only know, like, if you only are good with bow, is it possible that there would be no bow there and you would have to use something you're not familiar with? Okay.
Yep.
So
kind of getting also a really good way to learn a weapon, actually, because
learn all the weapons.
Yeah, because you do get rewards for doing it, and you get coins, which allows you to make armor from at the smithy with those coins. So they added in new armor and stuff for you to also make with the coins. So if you are learning a new weapon, it's kind of nice to go in the arena and be like, it doesn't matter if it takes me however long. I'm not looking for a world record, but I'm going to get rewards, and I'm also going to be learning how to use this weapon.
Yeah, I was like, how does that rotate again in terms of those options? Like how often, and do you know?
I don't know when the next one is coming.
Oh, it's right now. It's the same as I may have seen at launch.
There's 3 at the moment.
Okay.
Yeah. There's Chetakapa, Rathian, and Doshaguma. I definitely recommend trying it. It's just fun to try and learn how to use the weapon if you've never used it before, and then also just like, how can I do this better? Like one of them, for example, one of the loadouts has barrel bombs in it, and you have the skill that makes you do more damage with barrel bombs. So you're like, okay, maybe I really want to be using the barrel bombs. Yeah, so Arena is also here. That brings new new armor. And then in a couple weeks, we're going to be getting the Blossom Festival, which is a part of the title update. And that's going to bring new armor for yourself and your Palico and new event quests. And then you're getting Arc Tempered Raydao. It's going to be really hard. And that's going to bring another new armor set. So
in the situation when you get Arc Tempered, would you, material wise for crafting stuff, does anything tend to happen like with that? Like that there's something new for a set, or like, meaning that what would you farm for Arc Tempered Raydao?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. I thought you meant for the Spring Blossom stuff only. Oh,
no,
so there will be a new
armor
set, like a new Alpha, Gamma, whatever.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
Dope.
There will be a new armor set. Yep.
Nice.
And I assume another level of weapons, maybe?
Weapon stuff, or no?
I think another higher level rarity of weapon.
Maybe.
The difficulty now, so Zoshia, I think, is genuinely a tough fight until you learn how to do it. Like Zoshia that's and that's just high rank. It's not arc tempered, it's not tempered, it's just a high rank monster. So imagine when that gets its arc tempered version. We're all dead. We're all gonna die. Really. Mizutsune, tempered Mizutsune has multiple attacks that can one-shot you. Very aggressive, very dangerous, hurts a lot. Gormagala already is like really tough. Tempered Gormagala is probably still the hardest fight for me personally. And they're also adding higher level difficulty Apex monsters and a higher level difficulty of Gormagala. So I think right now we're in a point where we're getting like good difficulty monsters, and we're not even, this is the first title update, we're not even talking about like half a year later, and we're definitely not talking about expansion yet. And the expansion will definitely be, I think the expansion's going to be pretty rough.
Hope so, yeah.
That's what they tend to do.
Yeah, Zoshia is definitely rough. I'm playing Charge Blade. It's just like the amount of damage it does when it goes aggro. Like Gormagala, that's what I experience, is once it's enraged, plus just it's going nuts. It throws everything at you. I'm like, oh my God. It's just like everything's going so well until it's relentless, and then
it's 3 fireballs and then 2 fireballs and lightning and
the floor is lightning beneath you while the fireballs are coming at you, and then it comes down like, are you stunned? Is he screaming? Is he, if you dive, and then you're already on the ground and the lightning's coming, like, and so there's a learning for sure of what's going to be happening. I can tell you, I still haven't done it solo, and part of it, I was mad about my last run. Every time I've almost had it is the point. And then my last time I did it, I was like, you know what? I'm not getting off of my sacred because this is just nuts, dude. And I was just chopping them down. I'm like, okay, yeah, like, dude, you just can't. But I'm Charge Blade. So what happens, right? The Charge Blade starts getting all charged up. You can't charge it on the sacred, right? And so I had to get off to charge it a few times. And he just killed me as soon as I got off. I was so mad about it. But yeah, the point is there's a lot more that I could do build wise and learnings, and that's really good. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah, I've made like 4 different builds with the stuff that's been added. So I'm definitely doing different stuff. It's been a good title update. Also, multiplayer feels really good with Zoshia. Multiplayer feels
that's
great.
good to hear. Someone was in my chat saying that they were able to solo Zoshia, but then they were like, multiplayer was so hard, but he's just playing with
It's because people are
randoms.
dying. Yeah.
Yeah. Just random experience.
I bring healing dust with me. I bring stuff to make more healing dust. I'm like
Taking
blowing up
care of everybody.
crystals. Yeah, I try to.
Smart, honestly.
Yeah, ton of fun.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a nice
lots
update.
and lots of fun.
It's free. Yeah.
I checked out Path of Exile 2 because I had an update.
Oh, I'm sorry, real quick. First
Yeah.
Monster Hunter came out on PlayStation 2 in 2004.
PlayStation
nice.
2.
Dang, that is crazy,
It's
right?
stupid.
Yeah, I remember that.
I
Hit
see.
the
Did you say?
PSP
I
in
think that's
2005.
20 years ago, and I'm like, 20 years. The PlayStation.
Yeah, they didn't do
2?
any like 20-year anniversary, huh? Capcom's
Yeah, they
good
did.
on that.
They did a
usually
ton of
do
stuff.
like that. They did.
Yeah, they did it. Yeah. Yeah, they did a ton of stuff. That's why you could find like guitars and cars and houses and boats and jackets.
Oh, that's
and,
what that was for.
Okay.
God, I wanted
and
that guitar
plushies
so
and
bad.
shoes. And yeah, it was crazy. I bet you.
Wow.
Path of Exile?
Yeah, Path of Exile 2. They had a very significant patch.
They did.
That introduced new ascendancy classes, which is like your you have like a basic class, and you get to a point in the game where you can level up to another class that gives kind of distinct play style. So they added ascendancy classes. They added like 100 new uniques, which is, I guess, their exotics in the game. And a whole new class, Huntress. So I got to play the Huntress. Very cool. It's like a spear class. You like throw the spear. It was big on like parries to generate charges. Then it like empowers your spear, and then you can throw your spear, everything blows up or gets electrocuted. I did do a hardcore run, so when you die, it's over, and I did die. I was doing
Good job.
Yeah.
You got further than Elon, right?
I got further than Elon. I definitely got further than the original, the tutorial
boss.
Yeah.
Well, he's
No,
one of the
I
best
made it
players
further
in the-
than.
He's
than
the
the
best
last
player in
time
the
as well.
world. Yeah,
That's what I
one of
heard.
the best one. Yeah.
I don't know how the community feels about it, and I'm not well ingrained in the PoE community because it feels like they nerfed a bunch of stuff and people aren't happy with, I guess, slowing the game down, because PoE 1 is very quick and very like press button, wipe screen. And I get the general impression they're moving that I wanted to be as crazy as that. I mean, the campaign is always slow. And then when you kind of get to end game and your build starts coming online, everything's a lot quicker, right? And you just kind of see the whole screen blow up. But I haven't really experienced the end game post patch, so I don't know. But I did get the general sense that there's definitely a portion of PoE 1 players who aren't so happy, and then probably people like me that are still having a good time with it regardless, because I don't see any difference either way.
So I've been hearing a lot about it. And it's
What have
not
you
just
been
PoE
hearing?
1 players. It's because people really loved the campaign of PoE 2. They're like, this feels great. And then when they got to endgame and they were blowing things up, they were like, I kind of wish it was more like the campaign, because we have PoE 1 for that. Like, we want this to be more of like a slower, kind of more methodical experience. But it sounds like people were just, everything was taking so long to kill things, and then everything did so much damage that it felt like it was no longer a fair challenge, and it was just annoying. So I saw a lot of people who had never played PoE 1 and they played PoE 2, and they're like, I don't know if this is just me, but this is the least amount of fun I think I've ever had. Ever. It's just like really bad. So I obviously haven't played it, so I can't say for sure. I do want to play it. But yeah, it seems like some of that has already kind of been addressed by the devs.
I didn't find there to be a huge difference with like boss health or the time. If anything, I was way quicker than I was first time around because I had experience with it. So yeah, like I was taking down bosses and progressing a lot faster than my first playthrough, and that was on a new class as well. But yeah, similar to you, like I don't know, it's a bit hard without the nuance of like being involved in the community to know what's exactly going on and what people are happy or not happy about. I did tune into a stream where they were interviewing the devs. They're pretty open and take on a lot of feedback and like do interviews with PoE content creators and stuff like that. And yeah, it was very divisive in chat. There was a lot of backwards and forward conversations going on, and a lot of people saying, well, go back to PoE 1 if you want it to be like that. Like, this is trying to be different kind of deal. Then a lot of people are like, yeah, but we like it this way. We don't like it this way. So I don't know. If you are playing PoE, let us know. Let us know what the deal is. Yeah. But it's still in obviously early access. That will eventually be free to play. It's a $30 entry point at this stage to test the game, but there's a lot of content there too. So, but I think it's also hard if you don't know what kind of game it's going to be, and maybe they're still working that out. Is it going to be more slow and methodical? Is it going to be a little bit more crazy? I don't know. And this is the thing with like looting games. It's similar to like Destiny. It's like the first time you experience a raid, you wanted to take it. You don't want to blast through it in 5 minutes. You want to be there for a little bit and work it out. But then when you want to farm it, you kind of want to go quick, right? And this is like all these, same with Warframe, same with PoE. Like you want to enjoy the experience first time round, but when you farming something 20 times and you want to get this obscure drop, like you want to be efficient about it. And like PoE players are the definition of efficient. Like they min-max everything. So it doesn't surprise me. Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't surprise me if they're trying to slow the game down that people are not happy about that.
I will be checking out No Rest for the Wicked at the end of April, which is another ARPG, even though I would say it's kind of Soulsy mixed with ARPG. So maybe if you enjoyed the original Path of Exile 2 campaign experience, maybe you'll dig No Rest for the Wicked.
Yeah, I reckon. Probably.
Yeah. I might dig it. And they're adding a whole new story and areas and weapons and bosses. It's going to be a substantial update. I'll be checking that out right away.
That's coming at the end of April?
End of April, yeah.
You know what else is coming soon is the 2.0 update for Lords of Shadow?
Lords of the Fallen?
Lords of the Fallen. Yes, that's the Souls-like that came out that was gorgeous.
The CEO of that
kind
game
of broken.
Was a dick.
Was he?
He's let's just say he is enjoying. He's trying to be like Grums. He's trying to be like, hi, so our game didn't do very well. So now, let's get rid of A and B body types. Yeah, we hate that, right? We hate A and B body types.
Right.
Male and female.
Did Lords of the Fallen even have that issue of like woke discussion around? I don't even recall it having that.
That's what you do. If you are failing and you want to get more sales or you want more views, you just go, oh yeah, how about woke,
controversial
right?
topic.
Whoa, boo, woke sucks. Right? Buy my game.
Who cares? The game sucks. I hate it.
It's it was decent. It was okay, but it certainly was not like there were a lot.
It was
of
not
issues.
Influential. It was
there was a lot.
Didn't make BAFTA's top 21 most influential.
I think it was number 22 on the list. It just got cut.
That's right.
Because of course you can only have a top 21 list because any other number just seems weird, right?
Yeah.
Do you know what they're doing in the update, Briar? I'd seen like stuff about it. Actually, not.
I got like a random YouTube video that like testing out like what is this game like now after it's pretty famous launch where it just was pretty broken, right? It's like it just ran terribly.
It's been like a year and a year and a half.
There's been 25 patches to the game, which is a lot. And apparently it runs pretty good, especially on console, which is
that's what I've heard. I've heard it runs a lot better, yeah.
But this update 2.0 is it's their last time they're going to update the game before they kind of devote all those resources to working on the sequel.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I was thinking about checking the game out because it does look good. Like it just is a beautiful.
I had a
game.
decent time with it. As soon as I switched to like dual wielding and it was fast and I didn't need it to give me a ton of like heavy feedback to feel good. That I had a better time with that.
Yeah, that's all I remember about it is like people are like, man, it looks really good, but it just doesn't feel quite right for some people.
Yeah, it's kind of slidey. Like when you do attack and when bosses do attacks, you'll kind of like, they do the thing where it slides across to connect. And like they had a big issue with the way that parries felt and sounded for a long time. And then like we were in the Discord giving feedback on that, and they definitely made it a lot better, but it's still not great. I think it's got a lot of interesting ideas. Like there's the regular world and Umbral, and you go between them and you fight different enemies, and there's different pathways. And I thought that was really interesting. Like exploration in the game is pretty fun. But yeah, the feel of the combat and the boss design, I would say, is not great.
It's
the opposite of Khazan. It's the opposite of Khazan.
Yeah, it is really the opposite of Khazan.
Yeah.
I loved my time with the Khazan, and I hated nearly every minute with Lords of the Fallen.
Wow.
He really
it is free on Game Pass,
really
so you don't have to pay anything to check it out if you have Game Pass.
Oh, nice.
Well, I wanted my own.
I would like you to try, Brian, to see if we're on the same page.
I would like you to try it. Go play it right now, Brian.
Once I'm done with Khazan, I'll probably check it out.
Yeah.
It's either that
I did use
Dark Souls remastered.
I used a long sword or great sword or whatever, and I had an awful time. Big.
This was when because you were like big sword, big hammer guy. You're like big bong, big tank, and now you're like, maybe that's not me. And Lords of the Fallen did that too.
Yeah.
It was Lords of the Fallen. You're like, maybe not.
Maybe this is not who I am. I've been defining my personality by big bonk when I'm really small bonk.
Yep.
Maybe worth mentioning in this genre real fast. Well, back to ARPG stuff, but Diablo 4 had released like their roadmap because the end of April is like the next season. But part of that was they did, sort of softly confirm that a new expansion is coming in 2026. I guess some of the fans, they got big appetites. Obviously, they were hoping for an expansion this year. So it's a lot of, of that late era, let's say, as you get deeper and deeper into seasonal releases for now, what's, almost a couple years old, how fans are feeling about staying with the game. So there apparently has been a lot of folks like, oh, great, we get some new powers and a pet for the next, year, and we have to wait for our expansion or however long it's going to be. But putting all that aside, because I've dipped out and not because I don't like or dislike it a ton, but I just don't like, I'm not looking for tons of seasonal plays. I've talked about a lot on here. I want to play a bunch of different games. But I'm personally excited that, cool, they confirmed a new expansion is coming. There will be a new ranking system and some leaderboards, I guess, in 2026, whenever that is. I would expect that to be summer or late 2026 for a new Diablo 4 expansion. But Vessel of Hatred, again, if you haven't played it, and I don't know if that's on Game Pass. I don't know if you're looking there right now, Briar, but I don't think the expansion is yet. But Vessel of Hatred is good. It's fun just to play through that campaign, and it's a good feeling ARPG and not as hardcore as PoE 2, which there's reasons to like both.
Yep.
Hey, Fran. I don't know if Watt's got the same, but I had many mixed opinions about a Destiny.
Oh, you almost made me forget.
That's what I was thinking about, and then I forgot, and I was like, it was something we needed to talk about.
Can I mention?
I almost forgot too, because this is. I had multiple people saying, no gods did not like, because it was at the finale of episode.
It was the finale of Act 3, Episode 3, Heresy.
Some people said they loved it. Some people said they did not like it.
From a story perspective, I assume.
Yeah.
So what we should do here. This is normally we're ending the podcast soon.
We
anyway,
have no Twitter questions because I didn't forget. Yeah. I just knew it would be a long one and lots to talk about.
Yeah, and so before I spoil anything, Yeah. So here's what I'll do. Before I spoil anything, just some quick impressions. But then I will say, hey, I'll spoil the story. And so if you decide you want to dip out and play it yourself. But yeah, as we wrap up episode 3, like I still was pretty happy with how this week went. If you remember last week, I was complaining because they rolled out at the end of like cool cutscene. They brought back Sunless Cell from Destiny 1, right? And so I was like, oh, that's cool. And then they made me do like 4 freaking mission bounties, like killing stuff on the moon. And
last time,
you know,
on Destiny Talk.
Yeah. So I was just, no, not more of this, but episode 3 rolls out with a lot of mission and story structure, even though you might be playing some areas, but there's a lot going on from like, it's an actual like set of missions. That is what I was like logging into personally. So happy with that. Love hearing, Oryx's or the echo of, the navigator's voice. Eris's voice is all in there. And some of, Sloan is in there and Zivu Arath, etc. So again, some mixed voice acting missing here and there because of the SAG-AFTRA strikes. But anyway, I was really happy with all that stuff. So I think they did a good job from like seasonal content and just having stuff to play. So leave it at that. There were I don't think any real special rewards or anything just for playing that stuff though. It was just all story content. From there, I'll go into the spoiler stuff.
Hit me.
So, I mean, dude,
Can you give me a synopsis? Give me a season fucking summary.
Okay, I still need you to explain. You probably know more than me still because I'm such a dumb idiot when it comes to story stuff. But one of the big questions we've had this season, right, is like, who is master of the Taken, creating that's Taken, and the Hidden are out there, and like, I don't think that's answered at all. And so maybe that's what a big reaction was like, what?
I think people's complaint was nothing was answered. It was a nothing burger.
So they dangled in front of us. Good. I'm glad. Hopefully I'm not wrong on that. I'm pretty sure I'm not. So you're like, oh, okay, who's this new master, And I think that's what Frontiers is going to be all about. And it's why.
Right.
But they
so
didn't
the whole season was teasing the question, who's controlling the Taken? And that wasn't answered.
Yeah, and it wasn't even left presented to you at the end, which makes me wonder if there's still going to be that one more thing, like event or something they slip in, because before Frontiers, it feels like they almost need like just a little more on what they've been talking about. Like, what are they hidden up to and investigating? How did it end then? Like, where's the Drifter? Like, the Drifter's out. Yeah, so
Oryx was back?
The Oryx was already dead, though.
Yes.
But let me just finish that thought. What's happening is Drifter is out there investigating with the Hidden, what's going on.
Kissing Eris is what he's doing.
Yeah, he loves his.
I saw that lore book. They're
his
kissing.
Moon dust or whatever.
Yeah, there's smooching.
So that's, I think, why people are frustrated. I think that's what's going on Frontiers. But okay, what happens is Watts said. Yeah, you just basically craft Oryx's sword to break the Echo of Navigation's holding cell thing and also kill him in that process. Eris has been holding on to him, right? And that's basically it. You go, back to the Dreadnought and you craft the sword, and like Zivu Arath and Savathun are there trying to stop them. You've already pitted them against each other. And so like that's the big part of this story. You started a Hive Civil War. You took or received Taken powers through Sloan and Eris's magic. And so you create and gain some Taken powers with this Will Breaker, I think. Is that the name of his Oryx's sword, I think? But you craft it and you basically just, swoosh it back at him a few times, and you go through several, boss things with sort of the, it's funny when you don't fight actually Savathun, right? It's like you fight 2 of her and she's not actually there, right? And then Zivu Arath's thing was there, but you're not actually fighting them. But that's what happens, and then you break him free. And he literally, and so you break it and shatter it, and he just goes back like echoes into the stars. And that's part of the story. It was actually a cool line. He's like, something about, do you really understand the stars and what stands between them? And it's a cool little conversation with Oryx, or listening event. So I like it for all that, but yeah, you just sort of, he was already dead and now you killed him again, and then you don't know what's going on with
how many times are we gonna kill this dude?
Well, I heard people were really enjoying Oryx, because the whole story with Oryx this time around is that he learns that you are the one that killed him, and he's like, damn, I need you to like be my guy. So
yeah, he wants to put us
like
on the
super
throne.
excited. Anytime you're doing anything, he's like, "Let's go, Guardian. That's my Guardian." And then Eris is like, "Shut up. That's my knife, idiot. Stop talking." And Eris is very sassy and yells at Oryx a lot. And Oryx is like, "Woo, Guardian." So people were really excited.
Guardian.
This is accurate. Way better described.
People were excited about Oryx like being their cheerleader. They're like, "Hell yeah, I really like this. This is great." And then you kill him.
He's like the Cobra Kai enemy that joins forces. Like, yo, you beat me up the first tournament. I'm now on Team Guardian.
Like, I love you now. This is great.
Yeah. But the reason,
king.
I believe the reason you kill him, though, is in this process of his, sisters trying to free him and this whole civil war, like he also is resisting Eris's magic to kind of contain him through this process. And that's where she just can't hold him anymore, I believe. And he's like escaping. And so you have to,
did he even come back? An echo.
An echo slammed into from the witness, slammed into the side of the dreadnought, and his remnants.
And that brought him back.
Yeah, from the stars, I guess. I don't know how that works, but
okay. And then we make his sword and we send him back to the stars.
Yes.
You break all the anchors because, well, people assumed that the end of this act was going to be you break all of the anchors, keeping the dreadnought there, and then we ride the dreadnought to a new solar system and have a party bus on the way there. Which could still happen because there is another activity that is coming to the game, which is the Rites of the Nine. And someone in D said in chat that there's one of the 9 missing in their comms and they're getting a 9-themed activity. So maybe they're kind of tying that in. And I would expect, because you would expect this to lead into Frontiers, right? Because this is the final thing before Frontiers. So you would expect to have that tie in somehow.
Yeah, and like that's why I didn't even think about Rites of the Nine is still coming, either next week or the week after. I think 2 weeks from now. But yeah, I was like, there's got to be one more thing. Maybe that's it. But I think they're going to do something to lead into Frontiers more than, of course, I've still been sort of just loosely predicting sometime in May we'll probably hear about it. I'm just wild guess.
Either that or they might even do, maybe they do a mission right at the, like when in Frontiers, when Apollo comes out and you do like, you know,
like a free update. Maybe. They have, it's funny that they had done that, like at least, what was it leading from? Maybe it was Arrivals into the next season or something, but they had a really cool like prologue. I think it was when they did that live event as well. Remember when they tried to do the Fortnite live event? Everybody gathered in the tower, live technology, which by the way is clearly very difficult to do. They never did that again. But I always appreciated those little prologue moments to get you hyped up for, you didn't even buy the new content yet. So maybe they'll still do something like that. And we'll sort of see. They did reconfirm, by the way, summer 2025. They said summer 2025 is the release date.
Yep.
Window.
Summer 2025.
So whenever summer ends, is that sometime?
Summer's already over in Australia.
Summer. Summertime.
But I think we have until the middle of September. Let's remember the Destiny.
I wonder how they're going to time it with Marathon.
I think Marathon.
Because Marathon's 2025 too.
It is, yeah. But so I've heard, because people were like, "Oh my God, are they shadow dropping Marathon on Saturday?" And then apparently, very reputable people were saying that this looks like it's going to be like an alpha sign up. If this is alpha sign up, then it's probably going to be at the end of the year for Marathon.
Maybe yeah, Christmas that's been the leaks, but I was having this discussion, thinking the same thing. So I'm like, let's say this comes out, Frontiers, really on the anniversary of when Destiny 2 came out, which was sometime in September, which it'll barely make summer. But then I was like, so Marathon might be coming out this summer, right? Like in July or August even. It does seem really close from a Bungie marketing perspective, but the reason why I was saying that is like everybody's so worried about GTA, even though Marathon's very different. It's just like I have a hard time believing they would want to launch this in October or November for Marathon. For Marathon, right?
They always used to launch games in
September.
September.
Always be September.
But that's what I'm saying. I think Frontiers would still be reserved. That's end of summer 22. But maybe you're right. Maybe it's flipped. Maybe this still comes at Frontier, still comes out in July.
Do you want to launch Marathon before or after a Destiny expansion?
I don't think they care. I'll tell you the other thing. Let's just say that there is some alpha coming and the reveal goes well and everybody starts wish listing. I wouldn't be surprised if Bungie's kind of looking at that, how well it's going, right, to kind of calculate that final release date.
That's fair.
Yeah, that would make sense. In the TWAB, it does say that there will be more to share on Frontiers in the coming weeks. So I think we're expecting to hear some more sooner rather than later.
Maybe we'll know the whole schedule after this weekend, and then once Frontier stuff gets announced.
Yeah, like if they announce alpha signups, maybe there might not even be a date for the alpha. It might just be like, show your interest in playing the game. But it would be nice to have some kind of timing of something. There was something in the TWAB that I found very interesting. They did a restrictions and bans policy update. And they said that they are finally moving to an automated process of banning people. Like checking for cheaters and banning people. Because they said that before this, all actions against an account, bans, restrictions, whatever it is, needed to be manually approved by a Bungie employee. Of course, that means there's no way you're going to be able to ban people who are flying around the map instantly, because you're going to have to literally have someone sitting there going through and watching and investigating all of it. But they are now doing an automated process. So hopefully that means that if people are doing very egregious things, very obvious things, they will be able to ban them right away.
I mean, surely.
Well, you would hope so, if it's really obvious.
I mean, the traders that I had in trials, had heavy ammo round one. I mean, surely it's easy. Like, do they have heavy ammo round one? If yes, ban.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I think their philosophy is definitely try to catch way more cheaters more quickly. Understanding there might be some flack from that, but they do say they will be auditing it. So, I mean, I think rightly so. Some people are like scared that this is going to screw.
Some people are scared.
Just ban people in an environment where they already socially, you'll get questions about, I never did anything, man. And but I think it's the right move. And honestly, the way I see this too is like with Marathon around the corner, they've got to consolidate, I think, all of this type of thinking, plus you've got PlayStation layer on top of it, but like meaning Marathon, you're gonna have to catch cheaters too, right? So they've got to get all of this.
I was literally thinking, I wonder whether it's extraction shooters will literally die, and we've seen them die because of cheaters. It is not a game you're gonna have any tolerance for any. And as soon as it gets out that there's cheaters in Marathon, it will spread like a wildfire and kill a game.
Say that, I mean, I don't know if they're going to be using the same thing for Marathon, but they did say that they have built this robot from the ground up to detect cheating, and they're going to constantly be like seeing if there's any inconsistencies or improper actions, and like they're constantly going to be checking on so maybe they could be using something similar where they're training it to detect cheating.
Destiny as a beta testing platform for Marathon.
Yeah, you heard it here first.
I was actually, now that you said it that way, I was like, it could even be the reverse, though, that they've been spending a lot of time thinking about what Mylan said there, and they've been building this to deal with that, and they said, well, you know what, we're going to need to consolidate this into one Bungie platform, because like you're still going to have to sign up to Bungie to do this. So like you're going to want to know, like, dude, have you cheated in Destiny? Like, we're not going to let you play Marathon, so like it's probably along those lines, in the same way we see, like Activision, will do this type of stuff too.
With Warframe, the way that they approach it, because they've got Soulframe in development, like they just like share stuff between Warframe and Soulframe. They're like, oh, we tried this in Soulframe, so you're getting it in Warframe now. I mean, they're obviously very kind of similar games, but like a lot of it goes across between it.
Well, I just thought of a crazy question. To play Marathon on Steam, are you going to have a Steam account, a PlayStation account, and a Bungie account?
I think they've said that it's not going to be a Sony. Someone said to me there's not going to be a Sony sign up. You could just
they confirmed for this. So maybe it's just Bungie and Steam. It's still the same amount, but not a third level.
Do you reckon you're going to need a Bungie account? I mean, is it
for crossplay?
Why would they ever not?
Is it crossplay?
We don't know anything about that yet, so I would assume so.
I don't think it's going to be crossplay.
Oh, I would see.
Why would
I would
you
assume
think
it's like
not
Destiny.
crossplay?
I'm just assuming it's like Destiny. That if I want to play it on PlayStation 5 Pro, I can. If I want, and maybe Xbox as well. Yeah, why not?
I think balancing extraction shooters with console and PC is really hard.
Cross play. I was thinking cross progression. I'm sorry. I don't know. That's a good question.
I
cross
think
play. It probably. I don't know. It probably will have it. When the stakes are really high in extraction shooters, people get really fucking salty. And if it's anything to latch onto, it will be the difference between a mouse and keyboard having advantage or a controller having an advantage.
People will do it anyway. If it's just controller, it'll be like, well, you have paddles, you have you're using it 120 hertz, and I only have a 60 hertz monitor.
Yeah, that's true.
And
you've got two thumbs, you know, and you got one.
People will do anything to just look at, besides looking at themselves and going, what could have I done better to win that game? And if you do that, you will win more games. You do that.
Yeah, I mean, I forget which games do this, right? Where you can turn on and off PC as part of your matchmaking.
Yeah, that's normally
console,
normally the deal is you can turn off crossplay.
Yeah, so they'll probably do something like that. I don't know if Destiny supports that at all.
I'm gonna play on the Switch with the Joy-Con mouse.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah.
True.
There it goes. True.
Before we stop on all of that talk, I just want to let people know that if you are interested, there will be a new Twitch badge available. It looks like the cat from the marathon trailer, but it's in the marathon like highlighter green and black colors. And the way that you're going to be able to get it is if you subscribe to any creator in the marathon directory from April 11th at 7:45 a.m. Pacific to April 12th at 4 p.m. Pacific. So there is also an emblem, but you can already get the emblem right now. Is that not right? Oh, no, never mind. That you have to watch 15 minutes of the marathon gameplay reveal to get the Destiny marathon emblem.
Yes.
I think I'm gonna get up and stream it.
Yeah, I was gonna say that's like what, 3 a.m. your time, right?
Yeah, I think it's 1 a.m.
Oof.
1 a.m. Yeah,
I'll be
sounds
streaming
right.
as well.
I won't be streaming it live because I'm getting my eyeballs checked. But hopefully when I come back,
I got a doctor appointment for my eyeballs too.
On Saturday?
No, I think it's in May.
He squeezes his eyes.
Mine is on Saturday.
Oh.
Yeah.
I got an elbow appointment
It could
tomorrow.
be. He can't read.
An elbow appointment.
Yeah, they're gonna put some of that cortisone in there.
Steroids.
Sucker right up.
Sweet, he's getting steroids.
Getting that good stuff.
It's getting roided out. Gonna be hulked by the next podcast.
All right, should we wrap this one up?
Yeah.
All right, have a wonderful weekend. Thank you for joining us. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.